opinion and carry Annie.
Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. It's your boy, Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, pop culture, and hot topics. So if that's a show for you, definitely stick around. I'm like, why is it me or does it look like it's a little lagging a bit? Anyway, we got a lot of tea to spill today, including we got some sad news regarding legend Kiki Shepard, who was over there at Showtime at the Apollo. We gotta get I gotta get my overall thoughts on the Oscars. I finally got around to it. I wasn't able to do a show yesterday, so we're gonna talk about it 2 days later. Um, we got some tea regarding what may have transpired behind the scenes of this Buffy the Vampire Slayer pilot that will never see the light of day. We also got to talk about Jamie Lee Curtis admitting something that I've heard over the years. I could have sworn she's revealed this quite a few times, but she said she's not really a fan of the horror genre, even though she is known as a scream queen in the horror movie circles. We also got to talk about Dune 3. I have some of the looks, and we're going to talk about the trailer. Jack Harlow is under fire for saying he got blacker with his new album. Diddy out here being a mess again, talking about how he's still trying to appeal this jail situation. It's like, boy, just do your damn time. But he's still trying to be out here appealing this sentence, saying it was too harsh from the judge. We also got to talk about one of Swizz Beatz' baby mothers calling Swizzy and Alicia Keys out, saying that basically they got their 17-year-old child on enabling, well, they basically have been enabling her drug addiction and have been, every time she says not to do something with the kid, and they end up rewarding her. So we'll get into that. Plus, Kenya Morgan got a new gig, allegedly, her alongside Tamar, Braxton, and Kim Zolciak on a new reality show. I'll give you some tea on that. Boy George is talking out. Well, I know this is a couple of days old, but I'm like, it's a slow news day, so I was like, this is time to throw it in the topic. He's reacting to Chappell Rowan going around filming the paparazzi for filming her because she was in her damn, she had an attitude. So we got to talk about that. Plus, the show I Kissed a Boy and I Kissed a Girl was canceled. So people have set up a petition to bring the show back and saying that representation matters. And they don't like that all the queer shows are being canceled. We also got to talk about a drag court race icon who was hospitalized after eating a burger. So we got to get into that and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash that notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Like I was saying that, if you're already new, if you're already subscribed to the channel, just hit the like button. It definitely helps with the algorithm. Also, if you want to send super chats, if you want to become a member, you can also do that. We have those set up as well. And Onyx says, Happy St. Patty's Day. I don't have any green on, but yes, Happy St. Patty's Day. I don't think I even own any green. I wear a lot of black. And Kirsten Hayes says, Hi. All right, so let me my banner. And without further ado, let's get our first topic. Wait, hold on, because I got one of my windows open and I don't want any feedback. So let me close that. Now let's get our first topic. We have some sad news. Unfortunately, we lost the one and only Kiki Shepard. Now, for those of you who may not know who Kiki was a prominent force over there on Showtime at the Apollo way back in the day. I remember when I was a kid, I used to grow up watching her on TV. She was basically she was basically the equivalent of what Vanna White is over on Wheel of Fortune. She was a co-host. She was doing all that stuff over there on the show. And so it was sad to hear that she had passed away at the age of 74. So the tea came out yesterday. Hold on. According to, TMZ was the first to break the news. I see everybody else was talking about it today, but here's what they said. So now LaSheryl Smith, Kiki's rep, basically told TMZ that she suffered a massive heart attack in Los Angeles on Monday, adding her passing was completely unexpected. Sherry became a familiar face to millions of viewers during her long run on Showtime at the Apollo from 1987 to 2002, where she shared the stage with Steve Harvey and helped introduce aspiring performers at the iconic Harlem Theater. Over the years, she continued working in TV with appearances on shows, including A Different World, which is getting a reboot, and bringing back a lot of the cast, including Jasmine Guy and Kadeem Hardison. I just heard Jada Pinkett's coming back playing her part. Baywatch Nights. Speaking of Baywatch, Baywatch has been rebranded and rebooted, and that's coming back to TV. NYPD Blue, Everybody Hates Chris, Grey's Anatomy, which is still on, and Mind Your Business. She also appeared in the movie Blackjack Christmas. She later made a mark on Broadway, appearing in productions like Bubbling Down Sugar, Reggae, Your Arms Are Too Short, The Box with God. I remember when that was a huge show back in the day. Your Arms Too Short with Box with God and Porgy and Bess. Her career in entertainment began long before Apollo. She started out as a professional dancer in the early 70s, performing around the world, including with the DC Repertory Dance Company. So Kiki's been around. She's a prominent figure within the world of entertainment, especially in, I know, a lot of Black households. I mean, I wasn't really familiar with a lot of what she was doing in regards of the the other stuff when she was premiering in a lot of plays and things of that nature. But I know, like, her biggest thing that I think a lot of people knew her for was being on excuse me, was being on Showtime at the Apollo. So she will be missed. It's unfortunate that, yeah, we lost another icon. We're going to get into it later on with those in memoriams, that the celebrities that were omitted from the in memoriam over at the Oscars. But over here on this show, we like to acknowledge those who passed that were legends in their own right in the entertainment industry. So R.I.P. Kiki, you will be sorely missed. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding hearing that Kiki Shepard, who was a legend within, Black performance spaces, especially with Showtime at the Apollo, has passed away at the age of 74 due to a massive heart attack. So I don't know if there'll be any more information that'll come out about it. I mean, we pretty much know, the thing, but since they said it was unexpected, maybe there'll be an autopsy that they can do and they can dive deeper into what was the cause. Had she been going to the doctor regularly? Could this been prevented? You know, and with early detection, whatever the case is. So, I still got a lot of questions. I mean, then I feel like need to be answered. So, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now let's get into some Oscar talk. So the Oscars happened 2 days ago. I didn't get to talk about it yesterday like everybody else because I was working a Rangers game. So yeah. So now we here. We're gonna talk about it, and a lot happened. I finally got up to watching the full thing. My God, I can't wait till I move to YouTube because watching it on ABC, I was bored to death with a lot of the stuff that was going on. I did miss the thing because they was talking about that the Kieran Culkin shade that he threw at Sean Penn for not showing up because apparently Sean Penn was hanging out with Zelensky, which don't even get me started on his Zionistic politics, but nevertheless, that's who he was hanging out with. And Kieran made a little snide comment, but the reality is not a lot of people like Sean Penn. Sean Penn is not well liked within the industry. Yes, he's a phenomenal actor. He can act himself down boots. But when it comes to the personality, I see why he can't keep a woman. As regarded, well, he can get a woman, he just can't keep one because after a while, Madonna had to move on from his ass. Robin Wright had to move on from his ass, and but he got a new girl who's probably like 30 years younger than him. She'll put up with the shit for a while until she get tired, and then she'll move on to the next rich man. But I like Sean Penn in one battle after another. He didn't show up. He doesn't particularly care for a lot of these award shows. And that's fine if you don't want to do that. But and so if people sitting there thinking, and that was another thing too, that's why I was thinking, well, I don't know, I don't want to jump around too much. I will get into the Timothée Chalamet stuff in a second. But I feel like I kind of predicted a lot of who was going to walk away with a lot of the awards because a lot of what I was saying was pretty much spot on in well, at least what I was thinking, because there were people I was calling out that I said, oh, this one's gonna win an award, this one's gonna win an award. And the show was happening while we were doing my last live. So I had people in the comments that would keep me updated on who was winning the awards. I figured I mean, in my gut, I felt Amy Madigan was gonna win for weapons. I felt One Battle After Another was gonna win Best Picture. I said that original screenplay was gonna go to Ryan Coogler. I felt it in my gut that Michael B. Jordan was going to walk away with the Best Actor Oscar over Timothée Chalamet because he walked away with it. Timothée didn't get the BAFTA, controversy aside, what happened there. And he also didn't walk away with the best actor the best actor award at the SAG Awards. I ain't calling it that new damn name. That new name is stupid. So I'm not calling it what it is, the Actors Awards. So if Timothy wasn't winning all of those, I was like, more than likely Michael B. Jordan's getting it. And I'm glad that Michael won. Yes, I know a lot of people are saying that Marty Supreme, his performance Timothy gave was top notch in regards to that, but we're not going to discount Michael B. Jordan's performance in Sinners. He played two parts and he had to give nuances to both those characters. So, yes, Timothy did what he did in his film, but we're not going to discount what Michael B. Jordan did as well. So I think it was going to be a tight race. It was neck and neck. Leonardo DiCaprio, bless your heart, I'm glad you was there, but you didn't have a rat's chance in hell of walking away with an Oscar. Pretty much, I think he walked away empty-handed this whole award season. So it was great you were nominated. I would have liked the girl that played your daughter to get a little more recognition, but she didn't. Jessie Buckley, I pretty much figured that she was going to win. She's an amazing actress, even though y'all beating down that horrible movie she's in. What was it, The Bride? They're saying she's great in it. The movie's just a mess. And she's good in Hamnet, which I do want to get around and watch. I think Hamnet is on Peacock. I think it's on one of the streaming services. So I need to get around to watching that. There's a lot of the Oscar movies I was nominated in ones that won that I got to catch up on. The only ones that I actually got around to watching that was a part of the whole situation is One Battle After Another and Sinners. Those are the only two movies that I've seen that's been in this whole situation. K-pop Demon Hunters getting best song or whatever over Sinners. I'm not mad at that. I mean, I like the music in Sinners, but I didn't think it was gonna. No shade. It's just some of the songs that like that Take Me song and the performance and everything. Great. It's not going to beat a song like K-pop Demon Hunter. That movie is way too popular. There was something that irritated me. The Academy constantly cutting off K-pop Demon Hunters when they got up there and talked. It's like, oh, y'all would take the time to give it, and I understand y'all want to give enough time to the actors to get their point across, to thank whoever, but sorry, EJ and all of them up there for K-pop Demon Hunters, you think they're going to get another award nomination? They're not going to have another opportunity to get up there and say their piece or whatever the case is. So the consistent disrespect, and y'all didn't do it just once, you did it twice. And I think even one of the guys who was a songwriter who worked on the song, who was a homosexual, kissed his man, got up there, was trying to thank him, give his little speech. Y'all cut him off. And then I heard the audience booed because you didn't give them the opportunity to give their stuff in. So when people go around saying, oh yeah, everybody wants to hear Michael B. Jordan and Amy Mannequin and all that stuff. Yes, that's true. We definitely want to hear those speeches, but y'all could cut a bit down on best sound and cinematography and stuff. But I don't get, like, I love sound and cinematography and stuff, but that's not what people are sitting there watching, because I guarantee you, when I was in here doing this show, I had people in my comments say, "Oh, I turned off the Oscars because now it's all the boring stuff, best score, like best sound design and costume design and all this stuff." Like, and that's cool because it's all part of the movies. But I don't know them people; they were behind the scenes. We're not seeing them. But when it comes to the acting and the music, I think we want to know, because those are, I feel like, more of the integral parts that are in the forefront of why we watch movies. You need your visual and you need your sound. Yes, all the other bells and whistles with the hair and the makeup and all the other stuff that comes along, that's awesome. So, um, I was like, what else I want to say? Oh, let's talk about Tiana Taylor. So I'm gonna have to windmill on y'all, because stand down. Y'all are doing a little too much. Y'all talking about she was doing, no, y'all are doing a little too much in regards to the whole Tiana Taylor thing. So for those of y'all who ain't been paying attention, Tiana didn't start out having a good night when she got there. Somebody, apparently she was saying, that pushed her on the red carpet, and she had to scold them over what they were doing. And she was like, "You don't be pushing on no female, whatever." So I was hearing it, and it was that thing. People saying she doing too much. No, you let people know right then and there that what you're not going to do is play me for a fool and push me around on this damn red carpet. So y'all seem to forget. Y'all always want black people to always have to be poised and demure and mindful. Y'all always want what you got with Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo when they got called the N-word at the BAFTAs. Y'all want that all the time when it comes to black people. If you need to check somebody, and you got to remember, Tiana is new to this. She's also from Harlem. So if you sitting up there thinking that She just gonna sit up there and let you kind of do what you gonna do, and I'm just gonna keep just go like you got her all the way fucked up. Because if it was any one of your white constituents, you wouldn't have said shit. Another thing that was irritating me when y'all was going in on Tiana was the fact that y'all were criticizing when she was up for her Best Supporting Actress nomination, and who was the one that did Zoe Saldana got up there, did the Best Supporting Actress nominations, right? And so when Amy Madigan's name was called, she jumps up out her chair, clapping, all happy for her. Y'all got mad at that. And she had to read you bitches online. Y'all can look it up if you want to read exactly what she said. I was with her on it. Y'all wanted to get mad at her over that. Somehow she doing too much. She being fake or whatever. So I can't sit and you want me to sit in my chair. That's fake to me. If I'm going to get up there and I'm going to jump up and down and actually be rooting for my fellow peers, not everybody in Hollywood is an asshole. And I know that maybe that's what y'all used to because y'all want tea and gossip and drama and y'all always want y'all want ladies hating on each other and fighting. Shit is late. It's old. If people are fighting or whatever, that's awesome. We'll talk about it on the show. But every woman don't need to be going at it with every woman every time y'all want to see something. Amy Madigan been doing this for a long time, and her performance was her award win was well deserved. So why can't I get up there and clap for my girl, my fellow peer, or whatever the case is, and show that I ain't mad. There's other things down the line. I'm not gonna win this year, but I can go down the line and win another award down the road. I don't know why people getting in their feelings about that. And like I said, you see Amy Madigan on the right, Jesse Buckley on the left, Michael B. Jordan in the middle. Um, Speaking of Michael B. Jordan, I loved his speech. I actually did tear up when he got up there because I was like, I remember you when you was on All My Children and how he came along. Him and Amanda Seyfried was on All My Children, and Sarah Michelle Gellar too. There was a lot of people that were like big stars that came from soap operas and stuff. But I remember we was on. He was Jackson Montgomery adopted son Reggie, so. Him going from there, and then of course, but everybody only wants to say, "No, he was on The Wire," and all that because I always want to do that she foo foo stuff of like he was in a prominent part. He started on All My Children. He was acting, y'all. He was acting circles around a lot of the kids down back in the day too. So seeing his glow up, I'm basically happy for him. And so, oh wait, I didn't finish the other Tiana Taylor thing. So y'all got mad over that, and then last but certainly not least, y'all really blew a damn gasket when one battle after another one, which I knew was gonna win Best Picture, and she put PTA, short for Paul Thomas Anderson, because we ain't gonna keep saying his name. I didn't even know he was married. I kept forgetting he was in a relationship with Maya Rudolph. Just like I kept forgetting that he's what's his name? Jesse Plemons is with Kirsten Dunst, because they was in the front row. But yeah, I keep forgetting Paul Thomas Anderson is in a relationship. Well, I don't know if they're married or whatever the case, or they have like a Kurt Russell Goldie Hawn situation. But I forgot that he was with Maya Rudolph, who got up there and they did their little bridesmaids bit, which was pretty funny. Speaking of funny, where were the jokes, Conan O'Brien? I'll tell you, one time I actually was in I think I was coming from Lincoln Square, the movie theater, and I actually walked by Conan O'Brien. So I think he lives in that area. And I was like, damn, he is tall. Well, you saw this tall, pale white man with red hair. He stands out like a sore thumb. But in New York, we don't really give a damn about celebrities. We'll interact, we'll walk right past whatever case we see you. We don't just be like how a lot of y'all be doing with these celebrities. So yeah, where were the jokes? Because it wasn't funny. I did find that ongoing running joke in the beginning with the montage of the movies and how he was dressed as Aunt Gladys with the makeup and the little kids was basically chasing him through each movie. I did find that funny. I did find the Ted Sarandos joke funny too. About this the first time he's actually been in a theater with people and making a joke about Netflix not respecting movie theaters and stuff. Speaking of which, I need to do a story on that David Zaslav thing where he's about to make so much money off this deal with um Paramount, Warner Brothers, and then merge. Cause that shit pissed me off when I read it. But let's stick to this. And then so her putting him in a headlock, y'all was mad over that. And I'm sitting there like, oh, she doing too much. Oh, she actually I'm like, You don't know these people's relationships when they're on set. I've been on sets, I've worked in the entertainment spaces. Y'all don't realize how loose and relaxed it is in those environments versus y'all regular little cubicle jobs. It took me for a loop when I started working in when I was at VH1 and the people was just like and that was a cubicle job. And but the difference is the type of energy and the way people work, it was way different than just your regular job or whatever the case was. And it took me a minute to get used to that because I'm like, I ain't know people in the entertainment industry work this way. I was expecting everybody to be very much militant, corporate, like that whole situation. But no, everybody's up in there loose. Everybody's having a good old time. The work is getting done, but they don't work at the same with that same type of mentality that regular job people do. So you don't know what the rapport was on set with these with Paul Thomas, well, PTA and his cast and the crew. Movies is a different animal. So her relationship with the director, y'all don't know what that's like. But I do believe that if it was a white girl that got up there and did that, if it was Kirsten Dunst that got up there and did that, or Elle Fanning that put him in a headlock, y'all would not have said anything regarding that situation. It was because it was Tiana. I don't know what it is about this girl that y'all got a problem with all of a sudden, but y'all were just picking on her all throughout the Oscars. Any little thing she did, y'all had an issue with. Go outside and touch some goddamn grass. So there was that. Um, Congratulations, I will say, to Sinners for all the awards they won. I was trying to see what movies. Yeah, it was a big year for Warner Bros. Discovery. Shout out to all the actors that actually shouted out Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca because they are been the architects of shaping Warner Brothers into what they have been for like the past year. Like they've had such a great year in regards to movies, and we got more good movies coming out from Warner Brothers because when we get to talking about Dune, oh bitch, I can't wait to see this damn movie. So yeah, so and also I like Jessie Buckley's speech because she won Best Lead Actress for playing she was in Hamnet. She was a woman coping with the death of her young son. I love like I said, I love Michael B. Jordan's situation. Well, his speech. Um, I forgot how many Oscars has he won. I think this might have been three. This might be his third because I forgot. He won for playing Harvey Milk, and then he won for Mystic River. Both movies I actually like. Um, So he's actually the fourth actor to win three acting Oscars. Because Jack, and those four being Daniel Day-Lewis, Jack Nicholson, and Walter Brennan. Also, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Michael B. Jordan is the sixth black male actor to win the lead actor award. I'm trying to remember who he said. I know it's Sidney Poitier, it was Denzel Washington, and Will Smith. Did Cuba Gooding Jr. win for Best Actor or Best Supporting? I can't remember all the names that they said. So, um, shout out to them. And also, I know everybody was, and then they had the ongoing jokes regarding Timothée Chalamet and the uh the ballet and opera thing. I thought that was cute. It got a little old after a while. But if he would have addressed it before that situation, you could have probably diffused the situation. But he decided to lay low and keep quiet about it because we all knew at the Oscars it was going to be brought up. We knew it was going to be a big thing that they were going to be bringing up or whatever. And it turned out that that is what happened. And so they brought out Misty Copeland shortly after her damn hip replacement surgery. She up there tiptoeing through the damn tulips up on stage during the Sinners performance. I thought it was kind of cute, but whatever. Okay, so I know a lot of people were saying like the drama with Timothée Chalamet and all this other stuff. There's other roles that he's got coming down the pike. I think that he has a chance of winning. He's a little young. I think the reason why maybe Michael B. Jordan won is because Michael B. Jordan's campaign was a lot better than Timothy's. Timothy, from the beginning, when he was doing the Marty Supreme stuff, I know a lot of people want to sit and blame him on the ballet and opera stuff. Here's the gag with that: the ballet and opera stuff came out um in February. That interview came out in February. The Oscars voting closed the day before the thing what he said about ballet and opera went viral. A little coincidence. I'm sure maybe people in the industry heard about what he said around that time, and they may have influenced their voting before the virality of the video started doing what it was doing. But I also think there's a lot of factors that plays into this, and I've been paying attention to this for a while, and I've been telling y'all this throughout the many times we've had this conversation. And I'm glad a lot of people saying the same thing that I've been saying for a minute. You know, it takes a couple of people to catch up to the things I say when I be one noticing other pundits be saying the same, mimicking my very own thoughts. But there was a lot of controversy around this. Number one, I think a lot of people did not like the way that Timothée was going around promoting this movie. Especially with the guys walking around with him with tennis balls on, and him all of a sudden developing a black scent, and now he Timmy Tim from back when he was rapping in LaGuardia High School Performing Arts. That video is on the internet, surfaces somewhere. If you know, look it up if you haven't seen it. Where he's rapping on stage at his school. And also the Josh Safdie drama controversy. I don't know if y'all heard, but back in the day when the Safdie brothers were making movies together, I can't remember the name of the movie. They did a movie together. There was a young girl that they hired who was underage that was playing a prostitute, did a sex scene, and there was some controversy surrounding it that the girl was uncomfortable when they went through with the whole situation anyway, because the guy who was in the bed with her actually was butt ass naked and was being inappropriate. You can't cancel him because he's dead. He apparently died of a drug overdose a couple of years ago, so he's no longer in the union. So there was a drama going on with that. That story ended up resurfacing over on Page Six, I think, a couple of months ago. It might have been a late 2025, early 2026. I can't pinpoint the exact date off the top of my head, but there was controversy surrounding the Safdie brothers and why they kind of dispersed, and now they doing separate movies and not doing movies together, and the drama that happened on that set. Then it was another actor that I believe worked on Marty Supreme who got his foot caught up in his damn mouth because he made a comment regarding roles soon going to be taken over by AI. Now you got regular people voting for actors, and you're going to talk about their jobs going to be taken away by AI. Your days is done. So y'all just really, it's just, this movie was doomed to fail from the beginning in regards of the Oscars situation, because everybody wants to focus on Timothée Chalamet not getting the Oscar. Let's be clear. All the awards that Marty Supreme went up for, they lost. So they went home empty-handed on all sides. So it's not even just the Timothée thing. But I think because of all this stuff regarding, the what he said, and because that went viral in the timing of it all, that's all everybody chooses to speak on. And now it's still being overshadowed, and now it's still overshadowing Michael B. Jordan, his win. And shout out to him for going to In-N-Out Burger after the fact, that go get him like some fattening food, high cholesterol food, because I would have did the same damn thing. I'm not the old nasty 2%, 2 calorie finger food that y'all gonna be having at the Vanity Fair party. Or maybe I'll go there and get a couple of drinks, whatever the case is. But nope, I want to be with the regular people. I'll take pictures. I'll sign y'all receipts and get me whatever burgers they got. I never, and when I went to California, I never had the opportunity to have In-N-Out Burger. So, what I want to happen, because one of my friends told about, we had this conversation the other day. One of my industry friends, he was like, when I come back to LA, because he's moving back from Thailand to LA, I believe in May. He said, set your calendar for August because you coming to LA. And I was like, I'll be out there. I might spend a week or two. I was wondering if I should probably do a show out there or just vacay while I'm there and not work. But it's hard for me to not work when I'm so. It's like, even if I'm on vacation, I got to pull the camera out and start filming. So yeah, I don't think we have anything else to add to the full list of winners. Y'all pretty much know who won everything. Basically, Best Picture, one battle after another. Best Director, PTA. Best Actor, Michael Bakari Jordan. Best Actress, Jessie Buckley. Best Supporting Actor, Sean Penn. One battle after another. Best Supporting Actress, Amy Madigan for Weapons. Best International Feature was Sentimental Value. K-pop Demon Hunters won Best Animated Feature. Best Documentary Feature, Mr. Nobody Against Putin. Um, And then I forgot to mention about the Iranian guy who, what was it? I can't remember the name, but there was an actor who couldn't come into the United States because of because of the whole Palestine situation. Or was it Palestine or was it Iran that he couldn't come in because of his passport was, so in this idiotic administration. And then we have Best Original Screenplay, Ryan Coogler. Best Adapted Screenplay went to PTA, which I knew all of that was going to happen. And then they did the Best Casting thing. I was like, oh, that was all right. So, um, yeah, so that was basically it. Now, one of the things I want to get into is let's talk about horror because horror had a good, situation. It's been a good year for horror. Not only just like for us fans, but also it's been good for um the Oscars because a lot of movies that were rooted in horror won. So let's get into that story. So, when Amy Madigan accepted her first Oscar of the night during the March 15th ceremony, she shouted out her weapons writer and director Zach Kreger for creating her witchy role and Aunt Gladys, saying he wrote a dream part and he let me just grab it by the throat. I think also, if I'm not mistaken, Zach Kreger was in the audience because I think that was him when he pulled up. He lifted his glass and wiped a tear because when she won. So I think it was that. I said he must have taken a break from shooting Resident Evil to come support his girl. Now it seems that after decades of being othered and ignored at the Academy Awards, horror films are also sinking their teeth into the throat of critical acclaim. At this year's ceremony, there were 4 wins for The Vampire Tale Sinners, 3 for Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, and seeing Jacob Elordi tall ass up in there, I was like, oh, I want to climb him, as well as Madigan's Salute for Weapons. Beyond that, indie horror fable The Ugly Stepsister, which I actually like that movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's on Shudder. The Ugly Stepsister received a makeup and hairstyling nod, making it a hearty night for the genre. And that's not even counting nominations and wins for movies with horror in their DNA, like Begonia and K-pop Demon Hunters. Zero Gravity, a genre journalist and co-host of the podcast Blurty Massacre, says she is happy but not necessarily surprised that horror finally had a big night at the Oscars, saying we're in a hard renaissance right now where it's becoming absolutely unavoidable. She says that's thrilling for me as a fan to see the rest of the world wake up and realize that horror is the multidimensional genre. It's a force that can't be stopped. It's true that in the last decade, horror has found a bit of an on ramp to be part of the conversation. Jordan Peele's 2018 original screenplay win for Get Out seemed to signal that so-called elevated horror was allowed into the award conversation, be it work from Academy favorite Guillermo del Toro to momentum for Demi Moore in The Substance, who it looked like she was affected by The Substance last night because I was like, girl, where did your weight go? She looked a little too skinny last night. Um, it was like, oh, then it said, yet last night's ceremony seemed built around horror, with Sinners nabbing the all-time nomination record to host Conan O'Brien's lengthy opening built around Aunt Gladys. Ted Geoghegan, I think that's how you say his name, an indie horror filmmaker whose work includes 2015 We Are Still Here. That was a good one, actually. And 2023's Brooklyn 45 says the whole horror community is uplifted by having big visibility at the Oscars, saying independent horror and the people who create it need to see successes like this. They need to see the visibility because for so long, the Academy has overlooked horror films, even though they have been a fixture at every major studio since the dawn of cinema. In many cases, such as the Universal movies in the 30s, and even some of the tentpole films throughout the 80s and 90s. They kept the lights on at a lot of these studios while they are making their prestige pictures. While horror does have a very big footprint in the zeitgeist, it still never sees the critical adoration that we all hope it will receive. And they're absolutely right because for how long have I been saying that horror films never seem to get the respect that they deserve? They are the ones that keep the lights on at a lot of these studios because they're cheaper to produce. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money on budgets and actors and things of that nature. Hence why Nev Campbell was in her feelings over how y'all treated her with the whole Scream thing. So like, I pretty much have carried this franchise on my back, and that's y'all fault because y'all refuse to evolve the franchise beyond Sidney Prescott. So when you have this one girl that has to carry an entire franchise for damn near 30 years, pay her money. Same thing with Jamie Lee Curtis, where she went and said what she said about recently with the Halloween 2018 thing, and said that they was going to tell me I was going to do a trilogy, for because they didn't tell her that in the beginning. She was like, I was not going to do it, but because Jason Blum at Blumhouse, they don't pay people. They like to keep their budgets relatively small. They do films for under $10 million. There may be some exceptions to the rule where they'll go a little bit over, but for the most part, they like to keep their budgets relatively small. They like to hire actors who are either unknown, relatively unknown, or moderately known. So they don't like to put big names in them, because you put a big name in a small independent horror film, you got to pay them a lot of money because of box office traction, whatever the case is. So um, there was a lot of situations with that, and for a long time I do feel like horror just had like an ugly stain on it and y'all didn't respect it. But we've gotten to a point now where I feel like a lot of the generations, like my generation, who grew up watching a lot of slasher films and things of that nature, how we look at a lot of those movies, we see how a lot of those films, that when you looked at them, they were poorly shot, the acting was atrocious, whatever the case is, that you can take something that is rooted in real life situations, swap it in something, like spread a little horror, mayonnaise on it, add a little seasoning to the gumbo, and you take a real life situation, and that'll freak people out even more. So it's just like, and I feel like you can take more creative risks doing horror films more so than any other genre. So um I love that horror is finally having a renaissance, because remember at one point they did not have respect for horror back in the day, especially remember when Silence of the Lambs came out. It was winning all those awards. That is in the root of it, the core of that film, it's a horror movie. They call it a damn psychological thriller. Get off my line with that mess. So we knew what it was, but we know how like Hollywood had their nose up in the air, and they have a certain way about themselves, and they have a hard time wanting to accept and evolve into different things. They don't want to do that. So then also they said Emily Gatto, SVP of Shudder Acquisitions and Production, agrees that the high-profile celebration for the genre is important given the level of artistry of filmmakers and craftspeople, especially when a hard distributor and streaming platform like Shudder can secure a nomination for a small title like The Ugly Stepsister. And it's like, because yeah, I don't know, people are sleeping on Shudder. I don't know how many people subscribe to Shudder. Shudder finally decided to upgrade and make over their channel. The channel looks much better now. They even give you an inclination of what's coming up soon in regards of like what movies they have coming up on their roster, and so you can put it in similar. Their overall um overlay looks a bit Netflix-ish, but at least they've caught up with the rest of us, and their page looks relatively interesting to look at. And they have been taking big swings and risks in regards of the type of content they want to put on their channel. So when you hear a movie like The Ugly Stepsister gets an Oscar nomination, or I think they won. So when movies like that gets a nomination or possible win, whatever the case, or wins, um, then they're like, oh, it's on Shudder. Let me check this channel out. Let me give it a trial run. Let me check and see. Oh, they got some cool stuff on here. I might want to be a subscriber. I don't know how long I've been a subscriber to Shudder. It might have been at least good 5-6 years, but I love the channel. I've always been a fan of the channel and a lot of the content they put on there. So they come up with some really cool stuff. So um we're trying to see if there was any more to add. So yeah, but and they also said before the mid 2010s, it was jarring how infrequently horror films won Oscars. For example, only 6 performances have won in any acting category prior to last night. Frederick March in 1932's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Ruth Gordon in 1969's Rosemary's Baby. Oh yeah, that's the nosy neighbor. Kathy Bates in 1991's Misery, Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins in 1992's The Silence of the Lambs, and Natalie Portman in 2011's Black Swan. And Gatto also said the broadening of awards attention to include horror runs parallel with changing and broadening audiences' taste as well. And if they want to keep up with the fans, they're going to have to adapt to our taste. I'm not saying that you need to nominate a Michael Bay damn movie. I'm saying that when it comes to movies that are actually taking itself seriously and telling relatively compelling stories, they need to be given attention. So it's the kind of gradual, progressive opening up of the consumption habits of the audience. When you got the global phenomenal success of films like Sinners, which was ultimately an out and out vampire movie, that has a huge amount to say in a very entertaining and deep way. All of that kind of comes to the same positive outcome that we are seeing audiences taking more risks with what they're watching. They might be braver in taking a chance on a genre or a subgenre that they may not have taken a chance on before, or a foreign language film. I think consumer habits are slowly changing in that way, and we're delighted to see it because there's so much more that the genre has to give, and so many more filmmakers that are coming through and bringing us their voices. So shout out to y'all. I just love the fact that horror is having this renaissance and more people are starting to accept the genre, especially in Oscar spaces. Now, last but certainly not least, because I told you I was going to lump all this Oscar stuff together. Let's get into this in memoriam situation. So there were a lot of tributes. They did a tribute to Rob Reiner. Um, Barbara Streisand came out and gave tribute to Robert Redford. There was also tributes to Catherine O'Hara and Diane Keaton. So there was a lot of really good situations that was going on last night. But in regards to the in memoriam. But I know a lot of people took issue because there were quite a few of y'all faves that were omitted, including James Van Der Beek, Eric Dane, Bigot Bardot, and Malcolm Jamal Warner. Which I guess maybe the reason why, and I'm guessing Bigot Bardot wasn't a big thing over here. I don't think people pretty much like her. She was a racist and a homophobe any damn way, so fuck her. But the other three, James Van Der Beek, well, James, Eric, and MJW, they're TV actors. So maybe they didn't look at them as like, well, you're not movie stars. Y'all were relegated to the world of television. So when y'all do the Emmys, then y'all can pay a RIP in the in memoriam to them. But for the most part, y'all are not movie stars, so we're not going to do that. That's what came to my mind when they did that. But let's get into the story according to the Hollywood Reporter. So the in memoriam segment of the 2026 Oscars on Sunday paid moving tributes to the late Hollywood icon Rob Reiner, his wife Michelle, along many Hollywood legends lost this year. Oscars producers have signaled prior to Sunday's telecast that the in memoriam segment would be extended this year. In an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, producer Katie Mullen said, "It's been an unimaginably hard year when we've lost a lot of icons and titans in the film industry. So yes, we're going to expand the in memoriam because it feels so important that we do a tribute that is worthy to the people that we've lost this year." And I also heard that Corey Feldman was upset because he was omitted from the Rob Reiner situation, because we saw Jerry O'Connell and a bunch of them up there. Kieran Culkin was up there. But yeah, he wasn't allowed to come. I don't know why. Maybe Hollywood is not featuring Corey Feldman, but he was in Stand By Me along with Jerry O'Connell. So he wasn't invited. But that's something y'all got to work out. And I think he gave a reason for it, but I was like, I didn't care enough to read the article, but I heard that he wasn't invited. So now they said, despite the extended nature of the segment this year, there were some notable omissions, however, which were quickly pointed out on social media. Excuse me, French screen icon Bigot Bardot did not make the telecast, although she did make the long list on the Academy website. Also mentioned was Malcolm Jamal Warner, James Van Der Beek, and Eric Dane, but all three are more closely associated, which is what I said with television. So if you're not someone who, they're not going to just acknowledge everybody that died in Hollywood. They pretty much put people in tears. Yes, Hollywood is very high school. I don't know if you knew that, but it is. But yeah, it's like, oh no, they TV. They more equated with television. When the Emmys do their in memoriam, then you could put James Van Der Beek, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and Eric Dane in that category. But when we talk about movies, we talk about movie stars. So we focus solely on the movies. I don't think Bigot Bardot was a big enough star where she even need to be warranted a damn in memoriam. Now, Harold and Maude star Bud Cort, Manhunter's Tom Noonan, and Fantastic Four's Julian McMahon. Yeah, Julian McMahon. Why am I having a hard time saying his last name? Also failed to make the telecast, but again, all made the long list on the website. Also missing from the telecast was IMAX pioneer David Knight, Kiley, an Argentine movie icon Hector Alterio. They said the lost icons that was featured in the segment include an almost who's who of Hollywood from the 20th century, including Robert Redford, Robert Duvall, and Diane Keaton. Beloved actor turned director Rob Reiner and producer Michelle Reiner behind This Is Spinal Tap, Misery, and Stand By Me, and his wife, who both were they said died. They were killed by their own damn son. That's basically what happened. And when Harry Met Sally star Billy Crystal, who introduced a selection of Reiner's best works. My friends, Rob's movies will last for a lifetime because they were okay. He goes into a whole spiel. We don't need to go into what he said about how gifted and how they were loved and all this stuff. If you want to see the speech, I'm sure it's online somewhere. So, um, then we had people like Meg Ryan came out on stage, Christopher Guest, and Michael McKean. Christopher Guest, is Jamie Lee Curtis' husband. And then we have Kiefer Sutherland, Kevin Pollak, and Demi Moore for A Few Good Men, Carrie Elwes, Manny Patinkin, Carol Kane, and Fred Savage for A Princess Bride, Kathy Bates for Misery, Jerry O'Connell and Will Wheaton, Stand By Me, Annette Bening, American President, and John Cusack for A Sure Thing. And then as I said before, then they had Rachel McAdams up there, who looked good, by the way. I liked her outfit. And she paid homage to Diane Keaton and Catherine O'Hara, because, she and Catherine are both from Canada. Barbara Streisand came to eulogize Robert Redford and did The Way We Were. No shade, but Barbara, you were looking more and more like Ron Perlman in Beauty and the Beast than you do your normal self. That hair was she was having a frizzation situation with the hair up there. But it was great to see an icon on the stage. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts in this whole situation. I don't know if I left anything out regarding the Oscars, but if I did, child, I don't want to be on here for like an hour talking about it. I felt like I gave just enough, but I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Did you check out the Oscars? What did you overall think of the award ceremony? Me, I thought it was long, it dragged, it was boring. I was fast forwarding a lot, which probably caused me to miss Kieran Culkin throwing shade at Sean Penn for not showing up. So I didn't miss that because then I forgot that after they do the best supporting actress, they do best supporting actor. And I just sped right through because Conan O'Brien's jokes was just not doing it for me. So if you're gonna bring somebody back, if you're gonna bring him back next year, hire some writers or please just beg Jimmy Kimmel to come back. Because when Jimmy Kimmel came out and did his little bit, that was probably the funniest part of the thing. And it just made me like, why is that boy here? Why is Conan still doing this damn thing? So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding what your overall thoughts the Oscars were. Whatever they are, let me know in the comments down below. I totally forgot to put y'all comments on. Totally forgot. Not happy getting drunk day. Wyatt says hi. Jessica says hi. Golden was a pop culture phenomenon. Diane Warren was extremely pissed. They keep dissing her. But the fact of the matter was, nobody was beating Golden. Golden was the biggest hit out of all the categories. K-pop Demon Hunter is huge. I told you I seen them when I worked Jingle Ball. They had the cast up in there. First of all, that Asian boy, I was like, oh, he cute. But I don't know all their names up in there. But K-pop Demon Hunters is a huge thing now. Everybody loves it. They have a sequel coming. It was just announced the other day. So Diane Warren, better luck next time. I know you have literally become, even though she's won an award already, you literally become the Susan Lucci of the Grammys and the Oscars. Like they keep nominating you and you never win. So hopefully that streak will be broken and you can get Shamar Moore to announce your win. The reason I set that boundary to watch only the last hour was because I hadn't seen any of the movies. So why would I watch to see a bunch of celebs just sit? Once it got to the hour, I was just like, all right. The final hour, because they always put the supporting in the beginning, and then they use the last hour to do best pictures and original screenplay and best actor actress. They always do the big ones at the end. It show is. Amy Madigan was running like the kids and weapons to get her work. You better hope 230 doesn't get repealed because we lose our voice. Oh, please. A lot of people are pissed off at this idiot in the White House right now, especially with his whole war and the war that's going on that we're clearly losing. The memo was to tear Timothy to shreds and mock Republicans. The Academy was basically shading Timothy and to have Misty Copeland. The funny enough, the whole Timothy Chalamet situation, I noticed every time when Marty Supreme came up, it was a lot of lukewarm claps. But I noticed that it heightened a little bit. I don't know if they put that audio in later on. Speaking of the audio was terrible on the Oscars. Like, I don't understand. 90s, almost 100 years of doing these damn Oscars, y'all can't even get the sound right. So the sound was bad, and it was starting to annoy me. And then the Timothy thing is like, yeah, give him a couple of the lashes, smack him on the hand a little bit for some of the dumb shit he said. And now let's all move on from it. He might have redeemed himself after I saw this damn Dune 3 trailer. Um, Unfortunately, people are now defending Timothy after Hollywood came for him. Oh, please. So it's like, this is why I always say people are so fake and people are so goddamn performative. Because y'all sit up here and talk about, oh, y'all were dragging him, but now you feel like he's had enough. Now you want to defend. It's like, pick a side. Yeah, I swear y'all be bipolar on this damn internet. People don't get how actors are just that, actors, especially when you do dramatic roles. You need to get loose with your. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I said, like, me being in those rooms and seeing how they actually work, I was not upset over the way that Tiana Taylor had behaved or whatever the case is. I was like, y'all talking about she being extra. Name an actor who isn't. Like, that's part of the job. Their job is to be extra, is to be dramatic. Dramatic is in their DNA. Hello, if that wasn't the case, why did they create drama schools? So, being a drama king and a queen, it works for their situation. As am I am happy for MBJ winning as well. And they said Marty Supreme was never going to be his best actor win. Well, everybody was up in there saying that it was. I do kind of wish he had just won for Call Me By Your Name way back when, but then that ego of his would have just been. Yeah. Yeah, people do compare him to Leo, but now I've also been hearing people compare him to like he's this generation's Daniel Day Lewis. I've been hearing that too. It took decades to win an Oscar. Now they're pointing. Who's his predecessor? Look, he's 30 years old. He got a long way to go to win one. He said Timothy wasn't going to win anyway, regardless of his comments. I just think like of the rollout. I've heard that. I've heard that he was in the lead of winning. Him and Michael B. Jordan were neck and neck in regards to the awards thing. I just think what would have happened, what happened was the whole Marty Supreme rollout, the way he was promoting this film, talking about he want to be sort of like the what do you say, the LeBron of acting or whatever. Like a lot of the arrogant stuff people say. And my thing is, yeah, what's wrong with saying you want to be the best? Not DJ Khaled version of it. But what's wrong with saying you want to be the best in regards of your craft? Talk your shit. Because if you don't believe in you, who else will? But I guess people always want to feel like they want to humble him. So they had to teach him a lesson. Plus, I said all the other stuff with the Safdies and the drama that was going on behind the scenes, all the stuff that was coming out they were doing exposés on something that happened on a set that him and his brother was working on a movie and the underage girl. There was a lot of stuff that was going on that just kind of turned off a lot of people from behind the scenes. And I just don't think that they liked the way he was campaigning for this film. Michael B. Jordan did a whole clean campaign. He's well liked in the industry. He's been around for a long time. He's been acting longer than Timothée Chalamet been famous. So it was, in my opinion, I always looked at it as it was a lock for Michael B. Jordan to win. And maybe I'm looking at it different because as a man of color and we're raised to see things in multi-layered, multicolored ways that I'm looking at Michael B. Jordan and the nuanced performances, the so many levels that he brought to Smoke and Stack and playing those different parts. They should have nominated him twice. He should have went up for Best Supporting and Best Actor. I would have loved to see that. He should have went up against Sean Penn and on the other side with the Best Actor because he played two different roles. But who gets the Best Supporting and the Best Actor? Smoke and Stack. Y'all got to flip a coin, figure out who's going to be a part of it. Carly Rae Jepsen, congratulations on her for having her baby. He said, I was watching the Oscars with PTSD. Oh, because you thought it was, oh, you thought it was going to be, I thought the same thing. Because we was all like, y'all better not do them like I did The Color Purple back in 85. But no, they did that to Marty Supreme. Marty Supreme came in there with all them award nominations and walked away with nothing. They got The Color Purple. And you said Nick Jonas' wife is now Twitter nicknamed as, why they do that? Oh, was she in the audience? Because I did see when he said Free Palestine, but I was working. I wasn't looking up at the TV. Well, look, if she was uncomfortable and that's how she feeling, oh well. Oh, that ain't the only. Let me tell y'all, that ain't the only one that's getting read. Pedro Pascal getting dragged too, and ain't because he shaved his face. Word on the street is that man he dating is a Zionist, so they going in on his ass all over social media. So, so yeah, that whole no more war, and you can't be up in here talking about you want equality and this, that, and the other, and that's who you dating. You better find you a new man, boo. There's plenty of closeted actors in Hollywood you be hunching. And you say, I tell people why Scream is extremely popular with non-horror fans is the Lifetime movie Murder Mystery. Well, tell John Campea that because he continues to think that the show needs to be like Scream needs to be like Freddy and Jason. They need a Freddy and a Jason. No, Freddy is Freddy, Jason is Jason, Michael Myers is Michael Myers. They're characters within their IPs for a specific reason. But if Scream is all about the murder mystery, it also needs to be the motive behind the murders. So they need to work on that. And I don't know what it was. I can't remember which interview it was, but Kevin Williamson was working my nerve. Talking about how he said it so many times, how Guy Busick's such a great writer. I was like, where? Because the stuff that they was coming up with for these movies, I'm like, no, it's not a good writer. I don't know what you were reading, but if you thought that was brilliant writing for Scream 7, then, sir, you either are suffering from a case of dementia and you don't or you don't have any idea what real writing is because when you wrote your original script for Scream, that was brilliant writing. That was a brilliant way you tied in your first, second, and third act, the mystery, throwing people off, the meta jokes, and all that other stuff. And now you talking about Guy Busick is okay. Maybe that's just you blowing hot air because you're in Hollywood and y'all got to sit up here and lie and all this other stuff. Because at the end of the day, you're all happy that this is the biggest grossing movie of all out of all the Scream movies. So yeah, y'all gonna be buttering each other up, kissing each other's ass, whatever the case is. I just hope somebody else comes in who's got a great idea and can redeem this franchise. Because that last one, look, I don't think there's ever been, and I don't even still think there is a bad Scream movie. There are Scream movies that are watchable and tolerable and that have their issues, but I don't think there's a horrible Scream movie because I could sit and put all of them on and enjoy them in their own little way, even though I have issue with some of them. I have issue with 5, I have issue with 6, I have issues with 7, I have issues with 3, and I have issues with 4. But I could sit and put those movies on and watch them and enjoy them for what they are. None other horror fans. Wait, what? None other horror fans were smiled did wouldn't. SZA's Kill Bill and Snooze went diamond. Good for her. I'm not really big into SZA. I try to get into her, but I'm like, she bores me. They said excluding Taylor, SZA is that girl in the 2020s. But the memorial paid tributes to people who worked behind it. That's what I was saying too. I said that also. I was like, wait a minute. So y'all talking about y'all don't want to put nobody on TV? I said, I don't know them people. You bringing up people who are not on screen. You talking about people that work behind the scenes. But I guess because they know them, then it's okay. Hollywood be in such a little bubble sometimes. They don't be giving a damn that those of us on the outside, we're like, we don't know these people. Do you think David Byrne deserves something more significant than a 6-second tribute? I don't know. I guess they were picking and choosing who they want to give the big tribute to. The Academy has always looked down on genres. Absolutely, that aren't dramas. Horror, adventure, sci-fi, and comedy have all looked down by them. They better not look down on Dune. Dune, I really feel like it's going to be cleaning up at the Oscars, and I don't even think just for best. Can you imagine Timothée Chalamet gets nominated for best actor for in playing Paul Atreides in Dune and actually wins the Oscar for it? He wanted for Marty Supreme to play some guy that plays some damn ping pong, but he might actually walk away with it. I'm just saying, like putting it out there in the universe. Crazier things have happened. Now that y'all accepting horror movies and things, now you can go in and look at sci-fi. I also think that maybe the industry needs to start looking at comic book movies and start taking them seriously. Cause y'all kind of thumb y'all nose at those too. Like if they come out with like a serious acting, good acting performance in, let's use an example, the Batman Part 2, and then some brilliant scenes of acting and cinematography and all these other things, that should be nominated as well. Because we're giving you like a cinematic masterpiece. Same thing with Dune. When you look at that, it looks like a cinematic masterpiece, real compelling acting. A lot of great action and emotional beats and all that other stuff. Why shouldn't those go up for an award? Why has always got to be some period piece where some girl got a UTI and her fingernails is dirty? Like you can have, we can give love and respect to other genres beside it having to be some she foo foo ass movie that nobody's gonna go see. People always got to understand that there was a time when Hollywood separated TV and movies, TV actors, and I don't think they're still in their mind over that. I think Hollywood still likes to keep things relatively traditional and old school. So, yeah, and that's kind of where I was looking at it because that's the way we grew up watching a lot of films and stuff. They separated television from the movie industry, even though the lines have been blurred and you have A-listers who are doing TV shows. You got Nicole Kidman and Jamie Lee Curtis currently doing a TV show on Prime Video. So actors flip back and forth. Once actors have families and marriages, it's easy to do TV, especially if it's not 22 episodes a season. It's like, oh, you just need me to do 8 episodes of this show? Okay. That's like what, 2 months of work? Joey Man was also more TV. Yeah, because he did Nip Tuck and he was on Charmed. He did a couple of shows. But yeah, and the only time we've seen Julian McMahon in a movie was when he played Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movies. Off the top of my head, that's the only time I think that Julian McMahon really dabbled into movies. But for the most part, he was TV. Watching you during the Oscars. Exactly. That's why I said y'all was watching me. The Oscars was dry as hell. I was like, I ain't really missed nothing. I mean, I was fast forwarding through a lot of stuff, but I felt like the people highlighting the show was more entertaining than the show itself. K-pop Demon Hunters is coming to Blu-ray, and oh, even Netflix knows a limited. Well, look, they're smart. In that case, they need to start releasing a lot of their stuff. Leo didn't win till he was in his 40s, and well, he was very svelte last night. Like it looked like he got that body right. Timothy can look at Michael, for example, let the role do the work. That's how you promote. Exactly. You go out, you show like, well, Michael's always had a bit of a sense of poise and intelligence about himself. And also I think what it is, I don't want to kind of make this a race thing, but black people aren't afforded the ability to go in and be arrogant and act like how Timothée Chalamet was acting. But then again, Timothy did get humbled by his own peers. They didn't like it from him either. But black, because especially like when people say, "Oh, they took it on the chin and they were good sports about the whole situation regarding what happened to them at the BAFTAs." I'm like, because they're not allowed to be angry and arrogant and pop off and cursing people out and wanting to fight. You can't do that because oh, he's so aggressive. We know the microaggressions and phrases and things I like to use. So we can't go in there and do all that. So he has to, when they go low, we go high it in regards of whatever he gets ostracized or whenever there's a situation. He has to take the higher road. But yes, I do agree. He definitely needs to look at Michael for as an example. Michael's like what, maybe a couple of years older than him. He's like what, 35, 36. Timothy just turned 30. I think Timothy is going to now have Kylie stay at home. Well, she's the problem. I know some people got a problem with her, but I don't know if she's the issue. I don't feel like Kylie is really taking away from Timothy. She's not like Kim. She's not, to me, I don't feel like she's a energy vampire. Like, I don't get that from her. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't get that vibe from her. I don't think she's an energy vampire like Kim and the rest of them. Who Kim was at the Vanity Fair party, by the way, dressed as a damn Oscar in that gown. She looked good. The hair was a little messy, like she just got her back blown out in the back seat of a limousine before she got that on that red carpet. But for the most part, the outfit was very much body hugging. She probably had one of those those corset thingies on underneath to cinch her body in, because she be wanting that hourglass shape. Want to put her body through all kinds of torture just so that way she could maintain this certain look and image about her. And then you saw Chris Jenner there, who faced tighter than a damn child, who was invaded over there at Epstein Island. So, or child's vagina, I should say. So that face was pulled, and she had hips there. What's his name? The Corey somebody with them baby making the womanly hips. They was there on the red carpet. Rumors is they supposed to be breaking up, but y'all been saying that shit for years. They ain't broke up yet. Kevin is also 60 something. Dead meat is gone, and I forgot that he is friends with Radio Silence, as they were his best man at his wedding to Chelsea. Wait, who was Kevin who? Kevin Williamson? Well, you said they were his best man at his wedding to Chelsea. Whose wife name was Chelsea? One of the one of the Radio Silence people. You said there was a blind item about Tiana Taylor was on booger sugar and vaping in the audience, but I don't know how true that is. Well, child, vaping is a damn epidemic in this goddamn country. You better ask Swizz Beatz' daughter, because that's what they're going through right now. There's a few blind items. Timothée was a super. He had chlamydia during his college days. He had to drop out because he was asking for the school to get a lawsuit, being a super STD spreader. Wasn't there somebody else, I believe, that was accused of giving people the clap? Damn, I can't remember who the actor was, but there was a story that was going around, and they were saying that he's going around laying alone, spreading the wine, and giving people STIs. He said apparently fashion houses are no longer using him as well in his relationship with Kylie Jenner. It's also affecting him. Well, here's the thing. I think if it wasn't for Kanye, a lot of them would not have been able to get in those fashion spaces. So it's no shade, but if I still vaped, I would have brought my elf bar to the Oscars. All that sitting and clapping for millionaires, but I can't sneak in a vape during a commercial break. Yeah, because I be getting on people when we do shows at the Garden and they be in the middle of like a sports event and they be in there vaping. I be having to tell them it's not allowed. Y'all can hold off for 2 hours to smoke your cigarette or your weed or so, and they be going in the hallways doing it. But no, I be on them. It's like no, and you can't be vaping in here. You can't be smoking. Now, if it's a concert, we can't really control how many people are going to spark up, but it happens a lot at those too. Which I don't understand why people have to get on drugs in order to like have a good time. Did you like the PCDT I share with you? I do believe Robin is not really involved, and Nicole got selection of the girls. I heard that one of the girls was what was it? Hold on, let me look that story because there was something that I had on my Facebook. One of my friends said she full of shit though. I think it was Jessica Sutter had made a comment about. Hold on, because I gotta close these damn windows. Y'all always sending me stuff. No, it was Carmite, right? Yeah. She put, as an original member of the Pussycat Dolls, that chapter of my life will always hold profound meaning. I carry with me deep gratitude for the music we've created, the experiences we shared, and most importantly, the incredible fans around the world who supported us. I am especially thankful to the Libidiqua Plus community. Performing at Pride events has been among the most meaningful and joyful moments of my career. In light of recent developments, I feel it's important to speak honestly and respectfully. I was not contacted regarding the group's decision to move forward, and I learned of these plans at the same time as the public. Well, didn't you say that before when they canceled the thing because of the whole COVID-19 situation? We all was supposed to go on tour after React was released. Um, she said, given my history with the band, well, with the brand, because you're not a band. Y'all just a bunch of girls moving around the stage singing, Stick With You and Buttons. No shade, just saying. It's like, given my history with the brand, having been part of this foundation long before its commercial debut and instrumental in the connections that led to the record deal, I would have appreciated direct communication. While this is disappointing on a personal level, I remain proud of the role I played in helping shape what the Pussycat Dolls became. I believe the legacy of any group is built not only by those seen on stage, but also by the collective contributions and shared vision that brought it to life. My intention in sharing this is to not create division, but to honor the truth and the fans who have supported us through the years. Transparency and respect are values I hold deeply. Now, at this time, I'm choosing to focus on my well being and to move forward with positivity and purpose. I remain open hearted about the future and grateful for the continued love and encouragement I receive. we actually started. We actually started promoting the Pussycat Dolls concert at the Garden yesterday. It was about here's the shows that's coming. We show FK Twigs, we show PCD. It was a bunch of because yesterday at the Garden it was um Pride Night. So yes, we were celebrating Pride Night at a Rangers game. So, and then they put up a little thing on the Jumbotron regarding Shane and Ilya, and we gave money to Gay Men's Health Crisis and a bunch of other stuff. So we value the homosexual community within the thing. But I did see this story on Pink News because I'm like, we got a long way to go. In regards of in regards of changing up the queer representation. But I'm like, where to go? But there was something or another where it was talking about like they had to change some type of thing within hockey. Oh, I think it was. I think it had something to do with the like if you are LGBT or you want to support the queer community, how a lot of them can't wear rainbows on their gear, like a jersey the or the hockey stick, which I did see somebody yesterday with the rainbow colors on their hockey stick. So while y'all up in there saying all this stuff, I saw it literally with my own eyes that somebody in the one of our players had a rainbow on their on their hockey stick. So maybe things are starting to slowly change around. And the people in the audience was clapping and everything whenever the gays would get stuff. So I don't think hockey is as homophobic as um the the voices and everything are trying to make it out to be. Maybe everybody was in there just being nice and clapping, but I'd rather get loud in my face and then stab me in the back. In regards to the whole situation, but not Nancy Timothy. When I went to Slater's show back in 2022, was that around the because so many people were when you go to a concert and stuff, you would definitely a lot of people are gonna be in there vaping. Now, I'm like, when you said when you went to the Slater concert in 2022, were you actually in New York at the time? Oh, wait, was it in New York or somewhere else? Because I remember she did tour here at Brooklyn Steel. So I bought a ticket to go to that show. And that was when she came out with the Miss Belladonna, was that the whole Miss Belladonna era? I'm trying to remember, was that the name of the album? So yeah. I wonder if it was around that time because I'm thinking that was the last time she put out music. I would have been vaping with them back in 2020. Vaping is such a ugly thing to get caught up in. My sister does it. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the show because we got a Tina spell on here. Let's talk about Buffy. So Sarah Michelle Gellar. The other day we did talk a bit about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Hold on, because my camera is moving around, moving around. I was like, why is she loose? Anyway, okay, so take two in action. So Sarah Michelle Gellar, we already got the announcement the other day. Sarah Michelle Gellar took to social media to announce that they're not going to be they're not moving forward with the whole Buffy the Vampire Slayer continuation. I don't know what to call it. Is it a reboot? Is it a sequel? Is it a continuation? I feel like it's more or less a continuation of the franchise. So there's been a lot of stuff coming out about it. I actually have some tea on what had transpired with the situation. So from sources that I have apparently read the script, and Deadline did an exclusive where they broke down what had happened behind the scenes and even revealed the name of the executive who was the one that Sarah Michelle Gellar was referring to, but didn't say who it was. So Sarah Michelle Gellar, Scream Queen, patron saint of millennials worldwide, cultural hood ornament, vampire slayer Demetrius, or Emeritus, sorry, was at the South by Southwest Film and TV Festival premiere of her new movie, Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, which is where she got the news that they weren't moving forward with the pilot. I also saw that she was, say that to Thomas fast, that she was on The View this morning promoting Ready or Not 2. um, I wonder why they haven't been having Samara Weaving doing a lot of these shows, but I guess because Sarah Michelle Gellar is such a prominent name within the industry, they know let's hype it up and have her do all the big promotion. But I'm sure Samara's out here doing her thing in Catherine Newton. But to me, it seemed like Sarah's sort of overshadowing everybody in this film. So this was her first time at SXSW. It was also her first time on the big screen in almost 20 years. This was, as Gellar says, a really big day, a fun day. Then she got a phone call. She said, I was about to take the stage in front of all the fans. She recalls speaking on phone Sunday afternoon. Hulu had decided not to move forward with the Buffy revival. Let me tell you, nobody saw this coming. Now, since the series has that made Gellar a star left the air in 2003, fans have been clamoring for Buffy Summers to come back, and she almost did. For several years, Gellar and Oscar-winning director Chloé Zhao have been working on a revival for Hulu and Searchlight Television, saying, quote, I've been asked since the day I left to return to Sunnydale, said Gellar, who's 48, and it never occurred to me that it was something I was going to do. Then 4 years ago, Chloe, the witch that she is, and I say that as a good thing, comes into my life. In one meeting, she makes me say yes to something I never saw on my radar. That was because of the deep love and commitment and passion she has for the character. It was like I was stepping back in time. Now, Gellar and Zhao filmed the pilot episode for what would have become a full series reboot, which would have brought back Gellar's character and introduced a new Slayer, played by Kiera Armstrong, to star alongside her. She said, Chloe and I talked a lot, says Gellar, who loved where the show was headed. The dialogue flew off the tongue. When I was on set, it was craziness. It was like, oh, we're here. We're doing this. I love the duality that we had with this new younger Slayer, who was where Buffy was when the show started. And then we would pick up where Buffy was now. She says, well, she also went on to add, I like to use this as a moment to say that Kiera Armstrong is a superstar. I'm gutted no one will see her as a Slayer. Geller does have some confusion over not only why the decision to pull back the series was made, but as to the timing of the weekend's phone call. She said no one saw this coming, including the head of Searchlight Pictures, noting the film Ready or Not 2 is a Searchlight production under the same corporate umbrella as the intended Buffy reboot on the television side. She said, and I got a call as we were stepping on stage for the premiere of their own movie. And it's also the weekend of Chloe going to the Oscars as the Best Director nominee for Hamnet. For them to call us on that Friday of what should have been Chloe's victory lap for an incredible film and my world premiere of something that I worked very hard for is, she pauses, that says something. So she's basically saying that there had to be some type of shady sabotage going on behind the scenes at Hulu, where she just was irritated by what was going on in that whole situation. So um, she also said it was one person who killed the project. We have an executive on our show who was not only not a fan of the original, but was proud to constantly remind us that we had never seen the entirety of the series and how it wasn't for him. That's very hard when you're taking a property that is as beloved as Buffy, not just to the world, but to me and Chloe. So that tells you the uphill battle that we have been fighting since day one, when your executive is literally proud to tell you that he didn't watch it. Now, the morning after Radio Not 2's premiere, which debuted to strong reviews and an initial 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, Gellar filmed the video explaining to fans that the project was not moving forward. She said it was tough, but it was also a chance for me to take in the love that I was being shown. The fan reaction on social media has been immediate and overwhelming, both in sheer numbers and in both heartbreak and rage. And I love for Buffy, Summers, and Gellar. And one comment pleading for Dolly Parton to step in. And the reason why they say that is because Dolly Parton's production company produced the original series. I'm not sure if she produced the movie with that maggot Christy Swanson, but she did produce the show. Um, She said, I wish there was a magic wand Dolly could wave, but don't blame Dolly for this one. But the fans, they were the only reason we were doing the show in the first place. We were doing it because everybody loves it. So how do you do a show that's beloved with someone that doesn't love it? Now, she goes on and on and on and says a couple of things, but what I also want to get into, because Chloé has also spoken out, and Ryan, Kiera, Armstrong also have broken their silence in regards of what is happening with this whole situation. So let me see if I can find their quotes. So on the red carpet for the Oscars, Chloé went and I believe spoke with Josh Horowitz, if I'm not mistaken. And she said that she wasn't. It's funny how Sarah said she was surprised. Chloé said she wasn't surprised. So maybe what it was that Chloé knew some things behind the scenes that she was keeping to herself and didn't want to kind of speak them out into the ether and didn't want to disappoint or get Sarah to getting anxious or whatever the case was, so she kept it to herself. And now that it's out there, she's like, yeah, I'm not really surprised about what happened. So let's get into what she had to say. So she said, I had an incredible time with Sarah Michelle Gellar, with all the cast and crew doing this. And we, first and foremost, see ourselves as the guardians of the original show. Our priority for Sarah and for us has always been to be truthful to the show, to be truthful to our fans. So things happen for a reason, and we keep our hearts open and we become the mystery. And what this might lead us to, as if she and Gellar intend to shop Buffy the Vampire Slayer New Sunnydale elsewhere, she said, welcome the mystery. For what it's worth, multiple outlets have said the Hulu still has a lot of love for the Buffy franchise and will continue future iterations of the IP. That seems to suggest this current version won't be reshot. And while Gellar would likely return, chances are the notion of her having a daughter is scrapped or completely reimagined. Well, nobody actually knows which role this Nova chick actually plays in Buffy's life, because some of the tea that I was hearing is that the script wasn't really that good. Shout out to Robert Meyer Burnett, because he said he read the script. There's been a couple of people that actually read the script to the pilot. They said the Scooby Gang was not it. There was no chemistry or whatever the case was. They felt that the overall pilot was too small, and they were like getting constant notes from the studio and saying that there were certain things that would be a little bit expensive to shoot, and they were kind of like not making themselves more big and grandiose. But if you do that, isn't that going to be more expensive? But I guess it's depends on the situation. And the fact that they said that that Buffy doesn't appear literally until the last page of the script. So she basically shows up in the end, and then it goes to black, and then they play the Buffy the Vampire Slayer music, the credits roll, and we got to wait to see her pop up in episode 2. So I don't think they like that, because here's the thing: when you're doing a show, and they also said that the show played a little too much to the younger fans or the new kids, and not enough to those of us who've been watching the show since the 90s. So if you're trying to do that whole, I don't know if maybe Sarah Michelle Gellar didn't want to come back and do a full Buffy thing where she's in the lead. But if you're going to bring this franchise back, I think the old school fans want to see Sarah Michelle Gellar because she's such a stand. It's kind of like you painting yourselves in a corner, similar to Sidney Prescott. Nev Campbell was the best. Her and Gail were the best parts, and of course the Meeks Martin twins. Some of the actors had their moments in Scream 7, but when you look at it, Nev Campbell, and is this a certain thing about a certain generation of people who understand the art of acting and giving a performance when they're in that room, versus a lot of these new kids coming up who it's like, where did you learn how to act? Because it's not giving. And I'm not saying that Ryan Karen Armstrong is not a good actress, because there have been quite a few movies and shows that I've seen her in that she definitely delivers as an actor. But regarding the chemistry of everybody else, I don't know. And then Robert Meyer Burnett even said that once he got to the second page of the script, he said he wanted to rip his hair out. And he's someone who is a fan of the franchise. He loves Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And he said, is it a perfect show? No. But the one thing about Buffy the Vampire Slayer that as fans that we love is the fact that you would take real life situations that was going on, like what was like growing up being a teenager and that angst and falling in love, and how the metaphors of horror that goes into those real life scenarios. For example, when Buffy lost her virginity to Angel, and Angel gave her the cold shoulder and treated her like crap because he became Angelus. When he fell in love, that's a metaphor. Because when guys finally get the pussy that of the girl they want, they start becoming dicks. And that literally was a metaphor for that. When you looked at the hyena episode, when you see certain little things that was going on with the show, the cheerleader episode, which I actually love, where it was like a girl will do anything to be popular and on the cheerleading team. So she goes and uses a magic spell so that way she can go and have all the glory days and everything, because her daughter was wasting her life. So I'm gonna swap souls. I'm gonna put my soul in your body, and I'm gonna put this body to use, because if you're not going to use it for anything, then I'm going to continue to hold on to my youth by doing a whole parent trap type swap situation. And so the metaphors that went into the show with the supernatural, I thought that was like what made Buffy the Vampire Slayer work. Plus the whole Scooby Gang situation and that whole dynamic between the friends. So if you can't bring all the best parts of that into the pilot and we still get the essence and the thing, if we went and watched that pilot, I'm like, this is not like, y'all keep talking about the fans, the fans, the fans, and I'm watching as a fan. I'm like, I don't even recognize I'm not getting that feeling that I got when I first started watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer back when I was a kid in the 90s. This is not giving me what I need. Oh, when we talking about our millennial era. So yeah, so she gave her thing, and then also Ryan Kiera Armstrong, all she did was go on Instagram and post a picture of herself. And hold on, let me pull that picture up for y'all in case you didn't see it. She went on Instagram and posted this one little picture. And basically, I was like, yeah, let's make it bigger. She said, Heart Your Slayer. And so people were in the comments basically saying that I refuse to believe that new Sunnydale isn't going to happen. Nobody said it's not going to happen. The fact of the matter is the version of that script that they have is not going to happen. It will happen down the road. Hold on. I'm on the wrong thing. Let's put it here. Thank you. So yeah, I think it is going to happen. It's not going to happen now, but it'll happen down the road. Just not at this moment. So uh now let's get into the other article, because we got to get into this one with Deadline. Deadline spilled the tea. They went and found out what was going on. So they said that here is how Buffy New Sunnydale went from a dream reboot 2 decades in the making, with Gellar starring and Oscar winner Chloé Zhao directing, to a discarded pilot. There were issues. As Deadline reported on Saturday, the original pilot was not perfect. Some called it not great. Yet after a well-received rewrite and a lot more Buffy Summers with a lot more Buffy Summers in it, no one expected the pass. They said that they heard virtually every day last week the two studios on the Buffy reboot, 20th Century Television and Searchlight Television, touched base with the project's producers and creative team, indicating that a pickup for the pilot starring Gellar and Ryan Kiera Armstrong seemed imminent after its writers, Nora and Lila Zuckerman, had done a rewrite. Also, Nora and Lila Zuckerman were behind Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, if y'all thought it was some good writing on that show, then I guess because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was not a good show. And then at 6 p.m. on Friday, Disney Television Group President Craig Erwich, that's the person who Gellar would mention, though, that they said that they didn't like what was going on with the whole situation. So now y'all know his name. It was Craig Erwich. They said who oversees Hulu Originals, called auspices to inform that the project was not moving forward. I was in shock, one person said, of their reaction when they got the news, the timing of which could not have been worse because, as we said before, Gellar has Ready or Not 2 coming out, and Zhao was just at the Oscars. Then they also said, worst case scenario, those involved in Buffy thought Hulu would ask to continue to work on the pilot a little longer. No one saw this coming, including the head of Searchlight, and I got a call as we were stepping on stage for the premiere of their own movie. This is what she remembered said in the People magazine article. Now, it is unclear why Hulu opted to make the call on Friday night, with sources labeling the timing misguided and terrible. From what I hear, there wasn't a hard deadline or options expiring, but it was true that those involved in the pilot had been waiting for a while and wanted an answer. Well, yeah, because we was all waiting on pins and needles too. It was like, y'all shot this last year. Why have we not heard? It's almost been a year. So why are we not hearing anything? But yeah, so the timing of it was terrible. Y'all could have did it this week. Or no, not this week, because Ready or Not is still in promotion. You should just wait until after Ready or Not came out. So yeah, like I said, they shot it over a year ago. And I want to see like where the other juice is, because we don't need to go through a whole recap of the other stuff of how Chloe's a fan of the franchise. So they said Armstrong was cast as the new player Slayer with Gellar's Buffy Summers by her side, and the pilot went into production in late July, saying, "I love the duality we had with this new younger Slayer, who was where Buffy was when the show started, and then we will pick up with where Buffy was now." After the pilot was completed and delivered, according to multiple sources, Hulu's main note was that it played too young, with some indicating that the streamer also felt the show was too small. It is unclear how exactly the pilot went through development, greenlight, casting, and production without such concerns being addressed. Armstrong is young. She was about 15 when she was cast. Gellar was young in the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer 2. She was about 18 when she landed the pilot. As for the scope of the show, I hear the initial business mandate was to keep the spirit of the original, which was done for the WB and subsequently for UPN, on a modest budget. After feedback from the streamer that the pilot did not take big enough swings, the Zuckerman set out to do a rewrite to address the notes. I heard the script was 90 minutes. It was more adult, featuring a lot more of Gellar's Buffy, and was described as more of a streaming show than a network one. According to sources, the rewrite was well received at both studios, both 20th Century TV and Searchlight TV, triggering the eternal talk of a pending pickup, with at least one executive in charge putting everything on the line for it, as one person put it. And I already told you about the executive that Gellar singled out, who wasn't really a fan. And I told you who it was, Mr. Erwick. That was the one she was referring to. She didn't say his name, but Deadline spilled the tea. Now, they say it is unclear what exactly Erwick meant by his comments, with one suggesting he was referring to the fact that he wasn't the demo for the series when he said that it wasn't for him. Still, those involved in the reboot agree that Gellar's general assessment of his take on the show. What is known is that Erwin made the decision not to proceed with the pilot. The reasons for the pass are fuzzy. Some say Hulu suggested that the rewritten version of the project was too expensive to shoot. Others indicate that it still fell short of the high bar set by the original series. Well, here's the thing. When y'all talk about that, it's too expensive. Y'all told them to go big. The show was too small. And then they go bigger, and now you're talking about it's too expensive. Like they can't win to lose. So what I would really want to know what the notes were. What I really want to do is I want to read this script so that way I can get my overall thoughts in what was actually in this situation. Because inquiring minds definitely want to know. So um what else? Oh, and then they also said one source close to the project compared the situation to completing a $3 million renovation, only to find out that the house had foundation issues. Instead of fixing the foundation, you just walk away. The person said about whose decision not to proceed with the reboot. Now, as Deadline reported, the hope is to get another take of the Buffy IP up and running within the next couple of years. Do we have a couple of years though to be waiting around for another damn Buffy the Vampire Slayer? I just feel like if y'all want to get somebody to come in and do the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I did say Mike Flanagan, but I know Mike Flanagan is so busy with reviving all of Stephen King's IPs that I don't know if he'd have time. But then again, I'm sure he's got a team of people that can come in that can conjure up a script and work on something. He can just executive produce or whatever the case is. But they need somebody who truly understands horror, who truly understands the show. I did remember hearing Robert Meyer Burnett said something. I totally agree with this. He said, "Y'all, you writers need to read more books and start watching a lot of damn TV. So that way y'all can actually let your imagination run wild, come up with really interesting, creative things, and come up with some compelling dialogue because y'all be watching too much TV, and I guess it shows in y'all line of work. So hopefully they find somebody that can come along and really get this show up and going again. I know Sarah is feeling a little hurt right now. Time heals all wounds. I hope she's not gonna get like, well, we tried to go at it before and I was really passionate and then y'all played in my face and I didn't like what y'all did. What This is the nature of the business. This is just the way things are. But if you believe wholeheartedly and you have that passion for this franchise and you truly love the fans and you really are here for the fans, like you've been saying all throughout this stuff regarding the whole Buffy stuff, then you will go and fight hard to bring this show to life in some capacity. But I do say this, I don't want no half stepping. I don't want a shitty script. If you really feel passionate about this franchise, definitely put in the work and hire the best writers to come up with the really cool stuff to get it going. Because I know if it goes straight to, I don't know, I think times is different now, the way people consume TV. They talk about everything is expensive. And when you do a show that's based off of supernatural stuff, where you got to put special effects and things, look, if they could afford to do it back in the day on the CW of all channels and UPN of all channels, y'all can make it work on Hulu. Y'all, there are worse shows y'all have greenlit on that damn streaming service that y'all can put to bed. Mormon Wives. I don't know one person that watched that crap. So yeah, this is a sad day. But like I said, if the script was a mess, then I don't want to see a show that the script isn't that great and y'all trying to greenlight it. And then of course when it comes out, y'all rip it apart and was like, y'all didn't like the show because of whatever. But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they'll revisit it within a year or two. Don't wait too long because Sarah's close to 50. Not saying that she can't still do action. I mean, we see a lot of actors out here doing action well into their 50s, whatever. And Sarah don't look a bit of in her late 40s. So I'll definitely keep abreast of this story as it develops. But in the meantime, that's all the information that I have right now that I was able to compile that I wanted to bring to y'all in case you haven't heard anything about what was going on. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the tea that's been spilled regarding New Sunnydale and the reasoning behind why it was canceled? There's been a plethora of reasons or whatever, but we got it from Deadline that basically the script just wasn't up to par there. And then from what people were saying is that yeah, the chemistry between the Scooby kids just wasn't there. So let me know what you guys think of, and it's we're too young. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I almost forgot how to do my own outro. Oh, you said San Francisco in May, Troll Paradise. Well, I can't wait for that album to come out. That's next week. I feel like this has been the longest month of me waiting for new music to come out. I've been waiting forever for the new Ladytron album. I've been waiting for Jesse Ware got a new album coming out. Slater's album comes out next week. I just feel like this month has just been so long. I got my ticket for Ready or Not too. I haven't got mine yet because I always have to wait till Wednesday for them to put the official show times out. They always put out the night show times, but because I always like going early in the day because I'm working. I'm gonna go. I already got a plan. I'm going to see Ready or Not too. I'm gonna go to the gym. Then I'm gonna work Lady Gaga's concert. So that's the plan. Ready or Not too, gym and Gaga, in that order. Yep, use the biggest name. That's what they did. That is so random. I never knew Dolly did the producing for Buffy. Yeah, Dolly Parton was a producer on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like I said, did you ever watch the video on the English Roses by Modern Girls? I did not know Madonna was being accused of religious indoctrination. I think there was a story that coming out then. No, but I was watching them videos that um Robert sent me, the ones that I couldn't watch on the America's Next Top Model document, is all on YouTube. So I was able to actually watch both parts. Well, hopefully well, yeah, because I totally forgot the X Files is going to be going to Hulu. Hopefully that goes through. We'll see. But Ryan Coogler is riding on a high right now, so I'm sure he'll have his ducks in a row where they won't not move forward. But we'll see. But I like this idea that Hulu is just giving money for pilots and not just green lighting full season orders of shows. It seems like he's not a genre fan, and the X Files can also get look. You can't not be a you can't run a studio and be like, I'm not a fan of this, I'm not a fan of that. It's not about that. If the thing is making money, that's what you're in the business of doing. I mean, you should also love movies and things as well. But when I was going to try out for cheer, I did not do it for popularity points. I wanted to try out because I am a stunt. You're a stunt queen and dancing queen at heart. Hence my love for pop girls that do choreography. Hmm. So tired of reboots. Didn't iCarly have a reboot too? Yeah, nobody watched it, and then they canceled. Didn't they cancel the other one? What's her name? The one with Hillary Duff. You can only do so much in a script to keep the new fans, the old fans together, and make it solid. That's why I was like, just make a show. I think people get so caught, like we get so caught up in the nostalgia, which is what I think hurt Scream 7. We got so caught up in the nostalgia bait of it all, they forgot to actually write a good damn script because you were pandering to the old fans. A little too hard, if you ask me. Because remember, yeah, they thumbed their nose up at us old fans before, and then when that whole Melissa Barrera thing happened, then all of a sudden y'all wanted to pander to us to bring us back. And then, of course, we had to show in solidarity, yeah, don't fuck with the original. So we showed up and showed out, and the older generation who loves Scream came out and supported, and the movie was a hit. I recently found out that Zara Larson doesn't do any of the jump splits and stunts in her pretty ugly music video and hired a stunt double. Uh-uh. Well, look, not everybody has the ability to do that stuff. Just like Madonna be hiring stunt doubles on her. Look, the artists all do it. I'm like, if I can't do a split, then I'll have a double do it. There's a lot of actors that do that. Hannah Montana is doing a 20th anniversary special. No reboot in the works. Take some notes. And look, you know what? If we don't ever get a Buffy reboot, we still got the old shows. It's on Hulu. I'm watching them. Hola, Chris and Company with the Green Hearts for St. Patrick's Day. Milo Magagay. What's that? Milo Monopolis is now coming out saying the big assassination attempt was. Oh, please. Now y'all want to sit and say all the shit we've been saying for years out loud. Go play in traffic, please. Everything that man does is reflection and a confession and performance art. Bad performance art. You said Kamala and Tim Walls basically was surging in the polls, calling MAGA weird and all that other stuff. And then of course, they would get notes on them corporate center Zionists to like tone it down a bit, which you shouldn't have listened to them. And then they had to pull that stunt. Because trust and believe, if you got Secret Service and them all up in there, they're sweeping areas multiple times. They know if there's some sort of especially out in the open, like, come on now. Because if it really happened, he would still be talking about it like, mm-hmm, because we all know it's fake. It does. Not that it's boring. It does take a lot of time. And Sarah, swallow your pride, get Willow and Joss Whedon. I get you hate Joss, but that's the insurance because it sounds like everybody else. I mean, actually, she said that she got phone calls. I forgot to read. I didn't read the rest of the other article, but she said that she got a lot of phone calls from a lot of the past cast, including David Boreanaz. Because I heard from him 2 days ago. Had no problem with Joss except Buffy and Justice League. Oh, did they? You said I think Sarah has to understand we don't want high school years. We want Sarah and people our age because us 40 millennials are getting ageism treatment. Yeah, because I remember I was reading a story of this guy to my he was developing a script for a show. And he was talking about that the ageism not only is dealing, you got to deal with it for women, but you're dealing with gay men as well. And said that he was dealing with something where he wrote a script about a man who was in his 50s who was pretty much like Samantha Jones in so many ways, where he was unapologetically himself, a homosexual man, not in a relationship, and was unapologetically out here in his 50s having lots of sex and living his life. And people in the industry, he said he heard it from an exec to my ill. I'm like, ew, what are you talking about? Remember, your ass got to get to be that age one day. So that would be great representation. I'm thinking like we would see on TV someone who's unapologetically queer, male, and loves being unapologetically sexual. And they don't want that. They want us being like eunuchs. They want us being like Will and Jack McFarlane. We could be gay, but you can't know we're having sex. We can't be, we can't show that I'm comfortable in my skin. There's always got to be some deep rooted insecurity, some self hatred, all the other stuff. That's not where I am mentally in my life. I worked too hard on myself to get where I am with my confidence to go and want to dim that light because you're uncomfortable. Especially when you got people who are LGBT in the industry that are gatekeeping and don't want these stories to be told. We could be our own worst damn enemy sometime. You said bring earplugs because Gaga is highly toxic. Well, they do give us earplugs at well, we bring some people bring their own earplugs. They supply us with earplugs when we're doing the concerts. I don't use them. I should because then I don't want to end up like my grandmother. My grandmother used to work for Pfizer and managed to make a lot of money, a lot of stocks and everything from Pfizer. So she's well off from back in the day when she was working there. But she's because she wasn't wearing the earplugs when she was working in the facilities and stuff, it caused damage to her ears. So she can't hear. She has to use hearing aids and things of that nature. So I got to start protecting my ears. But I'm like, the audio is not so bad on my ears. I don't be feeling. But yeah, I think I definitely need to start bringing earplugs or using them. People wanted Sam, and they understand that Jeanette McCurdy left Hollywood. Freedom 7 is now the most successful film in the franchise. Yes, it is. And it'll be on VOD at the end of what was it, next week? Well, no, actually in 2 weeks. On the 30th, I think. He said, but what's the point of doing the stunt in a music video if it's not from the actual artist? There's been a lot of celebrities that do that, a lot of artists where they'll use stunt doubles. Because I know y'all want the real deal. You want to know that your fave could actually do those jump splits and throw their leg up like they're Kimberly Wyatt in a Pussycat Dolls music video. He said the insurance companies won't allow it. Plus, the music industry has stricter rules. Hmm. I said, wait, hold on. Let me close that. I was like, what was that? I hate when things close on me. All right. Okay, y'all, let's get back into the show. I should move the Timothée Chalamet thing to after the Oscars, but I put it in the order of it's in. It is what it is. Oh, well. So let's get into this Jamie Lee Curtis story. So apparently, she's been out here talking and stuff. Apparently, she said something that I've been knew for years. Even though she's been coined horror's scream queen, since Halloween basically made her the movie star made her a big star. And she wanted to do so many other horror films like The Fog and Prom Night and so many other films, and then went off and did other things. But she will always be known as Randy Meek says in what was it, Scream or Scream 2? She is the ultimate scream queen. So she recently revealed that for all the horror that she's done throughout her career, that she's not necessarily a fan of the genre. So Jamie Lee Curtis' life and career has been defined by horror movies, but that doesn't mean she needs to like being scared. She says, I don't really love it, the Halloween star said of the genre that helped launch her career at a South by Southwest panel over the weekend. I'm not joking, I'm not into it. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. It's just not my genre, not my thing. She says, I owe my life to the genre, but I don't have to pretend that I am a genre girl and that I love it. The one thing I will give Jamie Lee is that she's very open and honest about a lot of things. She's very transparent when she talks about certain things. And I applaud that from her. It's like, you know what? Yes, horror made me a star. It definitely kept the lights on and paid all the bills and things of that nature. But I don't necessarily love the genre. I don't like being scared. I don't like that feeling of just being on edge and overly anxious and all the other stuff. I mean, we love seeing the performances she delivers in the horror genre that she partakes in, particularly Halloween. I love her interaction when she's, standing up against Michael. I do feel like the best performance that we've ever gotten from Laurie Strode in a Halloween movie. And even though it's not a good movie, I felt like it was overly rushed. I feel like scenes were anticlimactic, but I love her performance in the role. Halloween H2O. Love her performance in that. The movie, not so much, because I haven't revisited it in years. I like Josh Hartnett being in it. I love I almost said Michelle Rodriguez. Michelle Williams being in it. Was named Adam Hambird. And the girl that was on, damn, what was her name? Jodie Lynn O'Keefe. And some of the beats that they kind of the homage that Kevin Williamson did with the script in regards of a callback to a lot of the original film that he incorporated in this film, and some of the suspenseful moments definitely did it for me. Love the scene when they were fighting in the school. I love the sequence when she goes and takes his body in the in the van, and they kind of have their little situation there. So the third act was definitely doing, but for the most part, the movie was kind of lackluster in my opinion. There were certain scenes in the film that worked, but then for the most part, I do feel like it was, a bit lackluster. So I like seeing her in the movies. I love her in The Fog. I love her in, Prom Night wasn't a good movie either, but I liked her in the film because I felt like a lot of the kills. I don't know if it was an MPAA thing back in the day, but there was a lot of when I watched that film, it was a lot of it seemed like a lot of the kills were edited out. Like you couldn't really see anybody get murdered. So that's why I was like, but I love the performance of Prom Night. And then Terror Train. I totally forgot she was in that movie too. That was such a weird freaking film. But I liked her in that. So Curtis's relationship with horror started at a young age. She was a child when her mother, Janet Leigh, had her most iconic role, starring as the ill-fated Marion Crane in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Curtis later made her film debut in John Carpenter's Halloween, playing the final girl, Laurie Strode, in the 1978 slasher classic. Curtis soon became the screen queen of a generation, appearing in 6 Halloween sequels, as well as 1980's The Fog, starring opposite Leigh. Oh yeah, she was in there with her own mother in that film. And speaking of which, I just saw because Shudder now does this coming soon to the channel thing on their page now because they rejudged it. The Fog is coming to Shudder in like 13 days, and I love that movie, so I might actually give that a watch. Even though I own it, whenever a favorite movie of mine pops up on a streamer, I will sit and watch it. Even if I can just pop it in at any time. So while she's never been in love with the genre, she's always been drawn to independent filmmaking aspect of horror. Speaking the day before Sinners was a big winner at the Academy Awards, Curtis spoke about how the view of horror has evolved over the years, saying the fact that it's a genre and now is getting more understanding and appreciation. Of course, I'm happy. It's fantastic that the Academy is moving along with that and changing and growing, like any good institution. Yeah, it took them long enough, but I always say better late than never. I'm glad that they're finally coming on board with all of this. And I love the fact that, you know what? That is one of the things I think I've always loved about horror, and why I think a lot of up and coming directors jump into horror, because it's a great way of it's an independent art form, meaning that you can take a lot of creative avenues in the horror genre. They're inexpensive to make depending on the type of situation. Even when you look at Scream, even though Scream is technically a mainstream slasher, their budget is relatively small compared to your regular movie. Like this last one, the budget was $45 million, and it's already grossed close to 200 million. So I love the fact that horror is finally getting its due. And I do love the fact that she was open and honest about the fact that, you know what, even though I'm not particularly a fan of the genre definitely loves me. And I've always had the most loyal fans, the most valid support. And um I love the independent aspect of making these type of movies, because you got to remember the original budget on Halloween was $300,000. You couldn't, well, I guess you could make a $300,000 horror movie, but not to the, but it wouldn't be in the same way that we looked at a Halloween back in the day. You need a little more money to be able to make that. Maybe the equivalent of with inflation of 300,000. Wouldn't that be close to like a million? Probably something like that. So yeah, shout out to you, Jamie Lee. And I say all this to say, what do you guys think of what she had to say regarding that? You know what? I am a screen queen. I've been coined a screen queen. Horror has definitely paid the bills and kept the lights on. And horror basically has made me the person that I am in the industry. However, it is not necessarily a genre that is my favorite. It's not my favorite genre that of movies that I like to watch. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. The insurance companies won't allow it, plus the music industry is, the insurance company won't allow you to do all those crazy situations. I mean, but if you like Britney Spears and you could do like splits and all the other stuff, they'll find way, or a Tate McRae, because they're like professional dancers. They'll incorporate all of that. Or back in the day when Madonna was incorporating a lot of her yoga moves in her performances, whatever your thing is, and like with Pink, where she does all the aerial stunts in the air, like that's her thing. She was a gymnast, so um all that works for what she does. Have you seen Addison Rae get dragged for straight up copying Britney's Onyx Hotel tour at Lollapalooza, Argentina? She wants the title of Britney daughter, and we're not giving it to her. No, I did not see that, but I did hear that they did announce the new girl, I mean the new slate of people who's gonna be doing Lollapalooza in the US, right? So it's Tate McRae and Charlie XCX, I believe, are a couple of them. Smashing Pumpkins is also gonna be doing the event. Let me check, because yeah, who is it? Charlie XCX, Tate McRae, Lord, Olivia Dean, John Summit, Jenny. The Smashing Pumpkins and the XX. I'm glad the XX is getting mad together, because they've been kind of going off doing their own thing. Little Uzi Vert, Turnstile, Somber, The Neighborhood, Young Blood, Bidabadoo-Ba, Ethel Kane, Empire of the Sun, Major Lazer, Espa, The Chainsmokers, Disco Lines, not for. I'm not gonna read all these. Let me see the ones I noticed. Clips, who I'm loving their new album. Muna, Zara Larson, Geese is performing. Freddie Gibbs, Wet Leg, Worship, Blood Orange, Suki Waterhouse. I always forget she sings. 5 Seconds of Summer. I thought that said ketamine, but that said Katama. Ketamine. Who else? I was like, who else are the names up in here? It's a couple of names I don't recognize, but y'all pretty much got the gist of who's performing. So Lollapalooza will be interesting. I didn't even know Lollapalooza was still around. Timothée is forgiven, and people praise him for being a petty ass bitch, launching Dune 3 after the Oscars lost. Why would he be petty though? I mean, we was all expecting the Dune 3 trailer to come out. It was only a matter of time, because there was rumors floating around that they were going to be doing it, but he didn't appear in person to promote it. He did it via video or something or another. It said, and Nicola dragged his family to court after the abortion comments. Yes, they are. One of Mia Goth feels the same, because she's always typecast. Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, isn't she in the new Dune trailer? I could have sworn I saw her. Nev is the same way. It's not just their thing. It's just not their thing, but I love how she told Kevin Williamson that she would be married to someone who makes her laugh to counteract her trauma. Well, you have to. Oh, you said I'm freezing. Geese. Yeah, we know you're a fan. Hold on. I might have to go out and come back in, because I've been noticing the videos have been doing that as of late. And it seems like it's on a delay. Okay, is it better? Is bitch better? That's what what's her name said? Teresa Judice. Yeah, because this should be annoying sometimes when that's probably because I held them pictures and stuff open, so I know it was probably freezing. I knew you would have got excited seeing Geese was gonna be performing. All right, y'all. Now, speaking of Timothée Chalamet and Dune, let's get into her. So, Dune 3 posted their trailer today. Yesterday, they showed it to a couple of industry people. We'll get into their comments in a second because I want to give their overall thoughts of what they had to say. So it says, and I do have a slideshow of the photos that we'll get to in a second. But okay, because I was like, wait a picture. Okay, we got it. So, get ready for more trips to Arrakis because Timothée Chalamet has revealed the first look at Dune Part 3, the epic finale of Denis Villeneuve's sci-fi trilogy. The movie is currently on the release calendar for December 18th, where it will face off against Avengers Doomsday, which it has been coined Doomsday, because I know a lot of people floating around saying it. I know Robert Downey Jr., unfunny ass, when he was at the Oscars with Chris Evans, was up in there trying to take credit for it. It's like, no, y'all did not come up with Doomsday. You tried it. It's been floating around on social media long before y'all even knew what the word was. But I do like this idea that they're trying to do their own little Barbenheimer. I don't know if it'll be successful, but I do want know one thing. After seeing the trailer, I will definitely be there watching Dune, and I'll also be watching Doomsday. I just got to flip a coin to see which movie I'm going to see first, depending on like how my schedule is. So, who knows? Maybe I'll take a day and make it a double feature. But anyway, so Chalamet shared a first look at his return via a photo posted on his IG story. Now, in 2024's Doom Part 2, which Villeneuve co-wrote with John uh, Spates, I think is how you say his name, Chalamet returned as the warrior prince, almost said princess, warrior princess, all right, Xena, the warrior prince to choose and chosen one, Paul Atreides, who continued his high-stakes journey with his mother, Lady Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson, on the dangerous desert planet of Arrakis. Paul joined the native Fremen people and fell in love with a young warrior named Chani, played by Zendaya, as they fought for their freedom against the evil Harkonnen Empire. Now, in the end, Paul defeats the Harkonnens and launches a holy war against the Great House with his Fremen army. Yeah, the Muad'Dib out here losing his damn mind. So now the sequel welcomed new faces to the franchise, including Austin Butler as villain Fade Routher, who he was killed off, Fade Routher Harkonnen, and Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan, daughter of Christopher Walken's Emperor Shaddam IV. Leia Seydoux also debuted as Lady Margot of the Bene Gesserit. Villeneuve said multiple times during the Part 2 press tour that a third Doom movie would expand the roles for Pugh, Seydoux, and Anya Taylor-Joy, who played a future grown-up version of that's what it was. I don't know why I was thinking it was Mia Goth. It was Anya Taylor-Joy. She looked different in the movie though. Who played the future grown-up version of Paul's unborn sister, Alaya, all of whom had brief appearances in the sequel. Josh Brolin's Gurney Halleck and Jason Momoa's Duncan Idaho will return for Dune 3, which also cast Robert Pattinson as the villain Skytail. Now, Legendary Pictures recently revealed in August 2024 that it was in development on a third Dune movie with Villeneuve back in the director's chair, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And so, Dune Part 2, I should point out, since we were talking about Oscars and stuff, they said they won 2 Oscars out of 5 nominations and grossed more than $714 million at the worldwide box office. Before Dune 2 even released, Villeneuve had confirmed in December 2023 that he was already working on a script for a potential third Dune movie. So, based on, and also they had some of the photos and all this other stuff. Let me show y'all some of the pictures in case you haven't seen them. Um, I know it's taking a minute. This damn thing moves a little slow, courtesy of the Facha book. So there is Paul Atreides looking like he's gone to the dark side. There is some other characters up in here. There's Robert Pattinson looking a little cray cray. Um, Jason Momoa, I believe that's Florence Pugh. More Robert Pattinson. And we got Zendaya right here. Lady Jessica, Rebecca Ferguson, Javier Bardem. I think that's Anya Taylor Joy. So we're getting the oh wait, that's something else. So that was the Andrew Tate situation. I was like, we can close all of that and come back to this photo. Oh, and also, so then we also have some people that actually got to see the the situation and gave their overall thoughts. There was a couple of critics that actually went and got to go see it, and so I wanted to read some of them on here to see what they had to say, and then I'll give my overall thoughts. Um, Jermaine Lucier said, got to see the Dune Part 3 trailer in IMAX this afternoon. Yeah, so a bunch of people were actually invited by Warner Brothers to go see the new trailer in IMAX, and here's their overall thoughts. He said, didn't think Denis Villeneuve could make something more epic. I was wrong. Drops at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. For now, check out these character posters. So then they have the posters that were ones I showed you. Jeff Snyder, who does the hot mic over there with John Roca, and is somebody who's a very much an insider, has his own Substack called In Snyder, and he basically gave insight into the film's positioning within Warner Brothers award strategy. Said, saw Dune Part 3 trailer. It's great. The movie is going to be WB's big awards movie next year, not Digger. Find out why in an upcoming edition of my newsletter. So, and Digger, for those of you who are not familiar, that's the new Inarritu movie with Tom Cruise. So he's saying that that's not going to be the big movie everybody's going to be talking about. So then we have Brandon Davis, who took a screenshot of the Dune Part 3 within the eye and said, I've seen Dune Part 3 teaser trailer, big day tomorrow. So, and then Blue Rangel said Dune 3 IMAX trailer tomorrow and post his reaction. So a couple of people saw it. They loved it. They also said Timothée Chalamet built in anticipation on Monday by posting his character poster on social media, which quickly garnered over 600,000 likes in just 2 hours. So I think that's what it is. Time heals all wounds. I think that Timothée Chalamet just needs to keep a low profile, which he did after the Oscars. Focus on when Dune Part 3 comes out, then you come off and do your promotions or whatever the case is. Just learn to be not be such an arrogant prick when you're out in the open, because apparently Hollywood don't like that. But overall, I saw the trailer. I thought it was pretty epic. I thought it was really good. I'm like, damn, I gotta wait till December. We're in March, so that's 9 months away. Um, I thought everybody looked great in the film. The film is very big, very cinematic. It's definitely something that needs to be seen on an IMAX screen. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Dune Part 3 will be seen in IMAX, and Doomsday doesn't get the IMAX screening. So I'll definitely be there with bells on opening day, checking this movie out. And we got Timothée Chalamet here looking like Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat. But yeah, based off of what I saw, it definitely looks like an epic trailer. Looking forward to seeing the movie when it comes out. Denis Villeneuve never steers me wrong when it comes to the type of projects he takes on. I definitely feel like he's going to change the face not only of cinema but of science fiction on the big screen. And hopefully, it does rack up a lot of the Oscar talk and awards during. I don't know if it'll be for 2027 because the movie comes out in December, but or possibly it could make it. But I hope if it doesn't do it for 2027, hopefully for 2028. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Have you checked out the Dune Part 3 trailer? Is this something that you're looking forward to seeing as much as I am? Like I said, I don't know. It's a little cray-cray that y'all trying to put Doomsday and Dune up against each other, and you're trying to do this whole Barbenheimer type situation. But Dune and Doomsday are pretty much fighting for the same audience. So it's gonna be a little crazy out here during the holidays of 2026. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Well, thank you. I would watch Dune 3 before I watch a desperate Marvel try their best. Well, look, I will say this. Dune is actually pretty, if you like science fiction, definitely check it out. Um, it's not just him. I mean, even though he does become more of the lead in Dune Part 2, his performance is compelling in this situation. So even though I'm not a really big fan of Timothée Chalamet, because trust and believe, I'm not a big fan of his either. It just so happens he appears in a lot of the movies that I want to see. And when he gets on the screen and he performs, he's relatively good in it. So a lot of times, based on the genre, like science fiction, I will kind of like not get so caught up in the matrix of the person, me not liking the person, and I'll just take in the movie and all the rest of the cast. But I say definitely check it out if you can. I actually went and bought the Dune Part 1 and 2 bundle. Now hearing what you said, I think that's what Timothée meant. He doesn't want a Barbenheimer moment. He wants his own film to shine. But then why are you continuously trying to throw opera and ballet under the bus? But I do think that it comes from a deep-rooted bout of pain because he's someone who understands that world. He grew up dealing with a parent, a mother, and a sister who were ballet dancers and knew and saw a lot of what they went through as performers, and probably feels a way about that genre. But if that's a situation, then you need to you got to learn. Like I always tell people, you have to be nuanced, and you really have to like go in and break down what you mean when you have these conversations, because you say any little thing, and like I said, people get sensitive. Oh, it's like when you said, he texted me, he's like, "You freezing." Wait, I was like, "Are you watching an old video? Because you sent me Mark." Oh wait, that's something else. Cleveland just text me, "You're freezing." No, I'll be on it last minute checking my messages. All right, y'all. So now let's move on from the movies. Let's get into some music news. Let's talk about Jack Harlow. So apparently Jack Harlow is being dragged out here in these streets because he said something about black folks and saying his music got blacker, and y'all was in y'all feelings about it. Wait, hold on, because I gotta sit and try to find the video. Did it disappear? Oh, I found it. Because I was like, wait, did I lose it? Did I? Okay, so now I had to find it because I don't know. The one thing I find annoying about Instagram is like if you don't use a thing for long, it keeps refreshing itself and then you lose your place. So anyway, so Jack Harlow basically has been out of the music game for 3 years. And now he's back with the music. I thought maybe because y'all wasn't checking for him and his music kind of like just died. But no, he's been kind of he's been on a low profile. He's got a new album out called Monica, where he moved on from the pop rap sound that pretty much made him a mainstream star. And now he's gone more into doing R&B and neo soul. So he did this recent interview with the New York Times' Popcast, and the rapper who's from Kentucky, Mitch McConnell's town, and singer also said he's been opted to emphasize his love of R&B while recording Monica rather than delve into genres like country or pop rock, because they were basically saying like, with a lot of these artists out here, particularly Post Malone and Jelly Roll and so many others who started out making music towards black people, taking a lot of what black people's music, just saying black people's music, taking a lot of our music and putting it on y'all stuff, you easily get invited to the cookout because apparently y'all just be giving invitations to every goddamn body instead of vetting them at the door before you give the invitation out. And then a lot of times they'll go in and they'll show their ass years later, and then they'll align themselves with the very people that are against our own interests. Hence what you've seen with the likes of a Jelly Roll and things of that nature, and a Kid Rock and all these other morons. So he went and did the video. I'm gonna pull it up for y'all to watch so you can hear it from him because I've seen their show before. And we will wait, hold on, that's not it. And we will come back and talk. Please hold.
White rappers are afforded more freedom to change their genre. True or false?
I might have to think about that.
I'd like to hear your answer to Joe's question, but also then talk about what I feel is like the radical twist of what you have chosen.
Well, I'll piggyback off what John's saying. John's saying you didn't retreat into a whiter genre. In fact, you arguably went deeper into
I got blacker.
Black music.
Yeah.
deeper into blackness.
Yeah.
So is that Was that conscious? Was that a little twist on the typical move that white rappers make, which is to retreat back into traditionally white sounds?
It certainly made what I already wanted to do even more appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because you like pushing that boundary, that line?
I think I love black music. I love the sound of black
Who
music.
among us?
Yeah, I
it's
love
like-
the sound of black music.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm hyper aware of the politics of today, that safer landing spot that a lot of my white contemporaries have found. And of course, it appealed to me to do something that I felt like at a time when there's plenty of people expecting me to take some of the routes y'all are taking.
Yep.
To take the route that not only might not be expected, but is also the one I genuinely want to take. So all the stars aligned in that way for me, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend like what you're talking about. I was like, I guess you're right. I knew that there were multiple things appealing about this route, but I also came to the decision, I'm proud to say, off of what feels good in my ear.
White rap.
So I do agree with the question where they were basically saying that yes, white people are afforded the ability to just play genre hopscotch when it comes to the different types of music they want to do or they want to get into. Black people are not afforded that. You already saw when Beyonce wanted to jump in and do country music, how white people lost their goddamn mind, even though country music, the foundation of it was built off of blues and black music. But on the other hand, it is not a dominant genre that a lot of black people do. So in a way, it's like we're trying to remind you of where country music originally stemmed from, but we're also, as black people, a minority in that genre. When it came to rock and roll, black people created rock and roll. Now it is predominantly white people in that. You see black people jumping in that space, people get pissed off with that too. So there seems to be a lot of that. They always want to keep black people in hip hop and R&B and that sort of thing, and that's what we dive into. Then when white people come into these spaces and we invite them to the cookout, they disrespect us. The one thing I will say about Jack Harlow that I love is the fact that he basically shows that, you know what, he loves the genre. He has a love for the genre, even though, yes, it is kind of cringe when you run up there and say, I got blacker. My music got blacker. It feels almost cosplay-ish, which is why I could see why it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. So, of course, it didn't take long for Harlow's comments to draw a blistering response online, and with many slamming him for cultural appropriation, when I think he should have came at it from a place of cultural appreciation, which I always say, there's differences. There's cultural appropriation, there's cultural assimilation, and there's cultural appreciation. And he would have felt more on that point of, it should have been appreciation of the genre. It did come across like you were appropriating the culture, but he hasn't been disrespectful to black people in ways that maybe a Machine Gun Kelly or a Post Malone have been when it comes to, oh, y'all jump on the bandwagon with our music, but then when shit hits the fan, then y'all want to go for that mainstream success, you switch over to more of the white stuff. And then you get your bigger fans that, because I still have those hip hop hits, now it feels good enough for those white people to accept your music, because now you've gone into a genre that more white people would discover your old stuff, discover your new stuff, and don't have to intermingle with too many black people. So one person said, "God Blacker is wild." Rapper and producer Terrence Punch Henderson Jr., who has worked with Kendrick Lamar and SZA, wrote on Twitter, "How exactly does one get blacker?" On Instagram, another person wrote, "I don't care what anybody is trying to make. I don't ever want to hear a white man say I got blacker ever again." While others blasted Harlow as Ghostface Vanilla and spelled it like Ghostface Killer. Vanilla, Vanillah. Well, look, I'd rather him be Ghostface Vanilla than Ghostface Vanilla Ice. And the most performative white dude ever. Some pointed out that white performers who have referenced the work of black musicians without acknowledgement and commended him for being honest about the influence, saying it's a bold move that shows he's committed to authenticity and respecting the roots of the music. So, it'll be interesting to see if his comments will impact the success of the album. But there was some people over in the comments of that video that I showed y'all had some things to say too. One person said the framing of the clip is what's driving the engagement, but they're actually addressing things black folks have been calling out for years. dipping into Black culture and aesthetics, monetizing it, then leaving when it's convenient while he's doubling down. Another person said, this is not an insane thing for 3 white men to be talking about. And then that person that I said, Saley Williams, that's who I was referencing earlier, said, nah, let them have it. Black folks have been saying this for years to limited success. Another person said, I don't care what point anybody is trying to make. Oh yeah, that was the one I read. I got blacker ever again. Another person said, 3 white men discussing blackness. Another person said, the gag is even traditionally white sounds are actually traditionally Black. And I think another thing that people have a problem with is the fact that you have 3 white people in the room having this conversation, and you don't have any Black folks in there to kind of like steer the conversation. And that's a conversation that needs to be had. I think Jack Harlow also went on Ebro Lauren Rosenberg. I think he went on their show this week. I wonder if they asked him on this, because you actually have somebody who's Black on that panel. You have Ebro, who is a Black man, half Black, but he's Black, who could probably address those. And nobody goes harder on Black issues and culture than Ebro. So it'd be nice to see if they asked about that. If you went on Charlamagne, you're not going to get much out of them, because them people about as deep as a pond over on that damn channel. And plus, their ratings are dropping because nobody's going over to Netflix to watch the goddamn Breakfast Club. So we all just going to have to just hope for the clips to pop up online somewhere and just rage bait that. And so I wonder if he'll go up on any other places, because if you're going in Black spaces and you're promoting an R&B neo soul album, then I need Black people to go in and really ask them those questions. And I don't need no half stepping. I don't need y'all run up in there trying to be all demure mindful over, what he has said. Really go in and be like, that might not have been the smartest thing to say in regards to that situation, because it does make it sound like a bit of cultural appropriation. And I think a lot of times people of color are tired of white people coming in, colonizing our shit, privatizing off it. And maybe he didn't mean anything by it. Maybe it's like I truly believe he loves Black music. He loves R&B. He loves hip hop. He loves all the sounds of where that comes from. The problem is, and I think the ones we really need to be windmilling at, is the industry as a whole, because there'll be Black artists out here who give y'all what you want. Y'all pay them dust, or the industry won't pour a lot of money behind them. But let's get somebody who is racially ambiguous, white adjacent, or plain on white, who's doing that same genre, and they will throw all the money behind them to promote that artist, because it's palatable to pick someone who isn't Black to put all that money behind it, because the overall racism that goes on in the industry. So it's a lot to unpack with this story. It's very multi-layered, and I'm sure that we will be discussing stuff like this down the road with some other celebrities. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story, what Jack Harlow had to say? Do you think people are overreacting, or do you think that maybe he had a slip of the tongue? Or do you think, like, yeah, people have a right to chastise him over a white guy doing Black music? Because we've seen this happen time and time again. Too many of you white people come up in here, y'all act like y'all got good intentions. I'm just speaking in general. I'm not saying this is him. That you come in with your good intentions, and then when the shit hits the fan, then y'all run over there to the white spaces, but you already done pillaged enough of our resources, and now you sharing it with them folks over there. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right. I was like, damn, I gotta go all the way up. I said, hey, love from South Africa. Yes, South Africa's in the building. We international over here. He said, I really like his album, LMAO, but he could have kept that to himself. And again, I didn't hear the record. I would have been like, what? I mean, I've heard that the album is pretty solid. I haven't heard it yet. So, first of all, I didn't even know Jack Harlow dropped the record until this controversy came out. So why not just say you respect the genre and wanted something new? Absolutely. Said that I've always had a love of Black music, that and bringing a lot of those references. Look, if there's anybody y'all can learn from in regards of like someone who had to fight his way into the industry and then ended up getting the respect that he deserved, y'all need to like watch old Eminem videos. That's what y'all need to do. So that way y'all can learn a little humility. Because Eminem was somebody who came from Detroit, white kid, loved hip hop, and fought his way through the trenches, doing battle rapping and all this stuff. So, and he was able to become like one of the greatest rappers. I ain't saying he up in the same like Mount Rushmore like Nas and Jay-Z and Biggie and them, but he is well respected. My issue with Eminem was the fact of how the mainstream treated him, how MTV treated him, where it was like all these other rappers coming in doing work, and oh, because you got this white kid coming up in here, oh, let's roll out the redder carpet. We'll roll out the red carpet for everybody else. We'll get the redder carpet for him. So it's always like I always say, the people that work behind the scenes in the industry, y'all racism be showing. So Eminem had a respect and a love for the genre. The people behind the scenes were trying to use him to be like sort of like that thing. And then of course with Eminem, we had all the other white rappers that were coming out, Everlast and all these other people. I actually like Everlast because Everlast was doing hip hop mixed with like folk music and with the guitar and the hip hop. So I was liking a lot of that sound, the sing rappy type thing. Like I said, neo-Nazi Proud Boys to Men. Brian McWhite dressed like LL Cool with not Charlie Kirk Franklin. What are these all the names they were calling him? It's my problem with a lot of white rappers. They start off rapping, get bored. Once the novelty grows old, either go alternative or country, and then never look back at their past efforts. Oh, you mean like Post Malone, drunk ass, and Machine Gun Kelly? Well, I will have to say I do like Machine Gun Kelly's set, like his stage set with the whole Statue of Liberty, and he comes out of her mouth and stuff on the stage. I actually like that setup. Well, WTF, he loves the sound of. That's what he said. Nah, I miss Mac Miller. Look, so does Ariana Grande. You said The Divine Feminine is an album inspired by neo soul music, but its influence is more in its production. And he said rather than Max singing, he did neo soul music his way, and that's what it is too. You got to do it, like, and that's why I always say that's where the greatest albums come from. Don't sit up in it and try to just copy what's already been done, and then it ends up being soulless. Bruno Mars. What you need to be doing is you listen to the music. If you have a love for the genre, you're inspired by it, but you have to make that sound you. Like, how would I come in and approach this genre and approach this sound, and how would I interpolate it? I don't want to sit up there and be like, oh, well, this song sound like the Shy did this one, and this song sound like a Nat King Cole track, which is basically what Bruno Mars unseasoned ass gives you. Just a bunch of regurgitated shit that other people have done 50 years ago, and y'all eat it up like yesterday's gumbo. Or I should say Tina Knowles gumbo that everybody was talking shit about. Literally. So there's that. And you said, which white folks do you think is invited to the cookout? Betty White. Well, of course, Betty White invited to the cookout. May she rest in peace. Damn, I got to think about that. Channing Tatum is invited to the cookout. That's one of them. Charlize Theron. Sandra Bullock. I do agree with that. You said he gives me John B. and Robin Thicke, where he even sexually prefers black women. Well, people did kind of drag Robin Thicke. Now, as far as John B goes, John B is the real deal. Like, people definitely give John B his flowers. John B loves black culture. He loves black women. He has never come out and been disrespectful towards the community. So he's always got an invite to the cookout. Pam Bimbo has 8 articles. Impeach her little emaciated ass. Throw her under the jail. Yeah, I feel like he gives that I date black girls, not with the air quotes though, not Jack Dolezal. He said there are so many white artists that people say have a black soul. Ariana Grande, JB, oh, I love me some Jamiroquai. Don't get me started on JK. Every time I turn around, when we get started with the show, with a lot of events of the Garter, they will play some Jamiroquai. Like they always put on that song. I can't be in my heels tonight, baby. They're always playing that song. Or Virtual Insanity. I remember the first time I saw that video, he had that big ass hat on and he was on the treadmill moving around. I was like, okay, come on, choreography. None of them have ever referred to themselves as I Got Black, or they just love the music. Mm-hmm. His album Monica currently projected its debut with 26,500 units outside. Oh, damn. So it's going to fly because I think like nobody cares about like Jack Harlow, no shade. I mean, yeah, he's cute to look at, but I don't think his music has ever kind of like been out there where people are like praising him. Like he's never been that star. He's had a couple of bops back in the day, but I just think like music wise, people ain't checking for him like that. It's given not one battle after another. um, that inspires them. They don't go out of their way to pander to a black audience or call paparazzi to take pictures of them holding hands with a black person they romantically linked to. Yeah, I know. Anastasia. Speaking of Anastasia, did she appear on Drag Race yet? Because I know she's supposed to be. I think it was UK versus the World, right? Which the new episode is tonight. I believe Anastasia was supposed to be on as a judge. I haven't watched. I don't watch the last week's episode, so I don't know. But I could have sworn that she was supposed to be on there. Spice Girls pulled the plug on the reunion, and Melanie C said, "It's the timing. I have a brand new album coming out." Mel B started filming Got Talent, and Jerry is focused on trying to save. Why am I laughing at that? Yeah, because her husband can't keep his dick in his pants. And not only is Mel B doing Got Talent, but she's also supposed to be in that Squid Game show with Kim Zolciak. Jack took a break and people moved on. He didn't exactly. That's why I said like when you still trying to establish yourself, you can't just go away. I mean, you're not Harry Styles. Harry Styles can do that and come back and still get a number one record because he has One Direction. Like people know him from that. The last albums that he came out with, people was loving. So he can take a 4-year break and come back and not feel the effects. Let me rephrase that. Betty White is not invited to the cookout. Yeah, she's at the cookout. She already inside. That Bruno Mars shade OMFG not unseasoned gumbo. That's what you give. I don't care if he dark skinned or not. I say it is unseasoned. And you say it was nice knowing you, Jack Harlow. You are now sent to the has-been asylum, not Iggy Azalea. Damn, I totally forgot about her. Vanilla Ice and all the other Kayas. Iggy Azalea does crypto coin on some shit show. Didn't she wasn't she also doing OnlyFans? Jack Harlow makes the type of music you listen to at a frat party, and I can even confirm that not every white rapper is meant to have a long career like Eminem. Yeah, he'll probably be doing, and I can't see him selling on Madison Square Garden either. He'll be doing either the theater, which houses 3,000 people, and that's the extent. But anyway, let's move on. And let's get into this disgraced mogul news. And let's talk about the diddler. So we just talked about him the other day that they say he's been on good behavior and stuff, but now he being a thorn in our ass again because apparently Diddy is trying to appeal his sentence, saying that the judge, the sentencing was too harsh. And it's no shade, but I just think like it wasn't harsh enough, in my opinion. So now Diddy and his legal team have officially appealed his 50-month prison sentence. Of course, it stems over 2 guilty accounts over transportation and engaged in prostitution. In their filing sent in on Friday, March 13th, per TMZ, they argued the ruling was too harsh, especially considering he was acquitted on more serious counts such as racketeering and trafficking. They believe that's because of the jury result. Judge Aaron Submaranian, the man responsible for the sentence, punished him harder, even though Mann Act violations typically aren't as severe. To be more specific, Diddy's team says the sentence is roughly 4 times higher than normal for incidents like these. Overall, the lawyers believe this is a perversion of justice. Oh. That's where the perversion comes in, sir. When that's all you was doing at them freak-offs, a bunch of damn perversions and abusing of women. They said this is a stance that the Bad Boy CEO's team has held since the trial last summer. After the sentencing in October, they claimed Submaranian acted as a 13th juror. Well, you're not getting out of that one since you want to throw shade at the judge. Now, elsewhere in the appeal, the request said court faction to order an immediate release to grant a judgment of acquittal or at least vacate and remand for resentencing. This all comes just about 3 weeks or so away from when Diddy will appear in court to argue his side. Last month, his request to expedite his appeal was granted ahead of taking dozens of months to fight back. He will now be in a courthouse by April 9th. What's also good news for the diddler is that his projected release date has been bumped up. As of earlier this month, it's now April 25th, 2028. Initially, May 8th of that year was what it was set at. However, it was briefly bumped back to June 4th, 2028. So he always trying to find ways to slither his way out of prison. It's like, no, I think probably the sentence. I mean, I don't know if he was acting like a third team juror. I wasn't there. Maybe you need to ask Tisa Tales and Armand Wiggins and all and Mims over and make it make sense because they were all on the scene. Funny enough, I live in New York and I didn't give a fuck to go down to the courthouse and get the information. I just didn't see any value in it because especially when I live here. So thinking about all of this, Diddy, you're a piece of shit. You ain't never been a nice person. I ain't never liked your ass. I've been saying for years you ain't nothing but the damn devil. And I feel like at this point, you need to stay your black ass behind bars, do your time, and come out in 2028 during your sentence. Because this, I feel like, is a lick back from all the things that you did throughout your career when you was in court and got away with it. Now that you finally having a due time for the crimes that you've done, now you want to sit up here and whine, cry and bitch that, oh, well, they treat me unfairly and I shouldn't be doing this sentence because it's a little harsh. Well, tell that to all the people that you went and made lives a living hell, including Cassandra, what's her name? Her last name, Cassie. We'll say that. We'll just call by her name, Ventura. It's like what you did to her and so many other people that was in your life. You did the crime, you do the time, and you'll get out in 2 years because you're getting out in 2028. It's 2026 right now. Vaya con Dios, senor. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the dealer? Do you think that he will win this appeal? Only time will tell because they said he'll be in the court by April, and we'll find out if it will be granted that they'll do a whole resentencing. But I just feel like, look, they got you on what they got you on. You need to stay your ass in prison and do the time. And then when you get out, just try not to be that person you once was. So let me know what you guys think because it started to make me think like you ain't really been learning your lesson while you've been in jail. They've been men with less money that make less money than you that have done crimes, time for crimes they haven't committed. There was a guy that I saw when I was watching the news at work yesterday because they had it on Eyewitness News. So I had no choice but to engage with the TV at the Garden. And they went and said something or other. This guy was in jail for 20 years for a crime he didn't commit. And I said, child, to sue their ass because you had me in prison. My life ruined. I'm older now. I probably can't go out and get no job nowhere. Nope, lawsuit. I need money. Y'all going to have to pay me for having me locked up in jail for 2 years, for 20 years. Sorry. But anyway, so I know that was a little rant, but yeah, let me know what you guys think of that story in the comments down below. Yeah. I know y'all would not want them down there. What they going to do about what? I don't understand. What would they? I mean, I'm sure South Africa is a great place to live, but why? What would they do down there except be a damn nuisance? Didn't Diddy's team talk nonstop about him being violent? Yeah, now all of a sudden y'all want to talk about he innocent. Speaking of prison, do you remember the rapper? Yeah, I remember Mystical. He ain't never getting out of jail. Danger. Mystical out here being a damn fool. See Murder trying to get out of jail too. He ain't getting out. That was Monica, man. Said you ain't getting out of jail. I forgot what Mystical did. Did he grape somebody? Why is not on a versus in jail? Why he in jail? Oh yeah, it was grape. I know it had to do with something. Because they said, 2 hours ago. They said he played. Well, thank you for letting me know this. I looked it up, and this is actual tea that came out today. So they said Mystical, the Louisiana rapper known for a run of late 90s and early 2000s hip hop hits, has pled guilty to third-degree grape in connection with a 2022 assault in is it Ascension or Ascension Parish, according to WBRZ. The artist, whose real name is Michael Tyler, has been in jail since he was arrested in 2000 and since 2022 on several charges, including first-degree grape, simple robbery, domestic abuse battery, and false imprisonment. The charges were reduced as part of a plea deal. Deputies were called to a hospital in reference to a reported SA. Detectives identified Tyler as a suspect after speaking with the victim, who suffered minor injuries during the assault. The victim also told investigators Tyler beat and choked her, then took her phone and keys to stop her from leaving. She also said he forced her to send him money via Cash App after the assault. Damn, you out here really struggling for cash? You out here assaulting and then robbing the girls you raping? Tuesday's conviction is not Tyler's first. He was a registered S offender. Oh, you up there with I guess you could Kiki with Nicki Minaj and them over there. She like them S offenders too, who previously served 6 years in prison after pleading guilty in 2003 for sexual battery and extortion in an unrelated case involving a hairstylist or his hairstylist. They said in 2017 he was also charged with rape and kidnapping in Louisiana and spent more than a year in jail before posting bond. Those charges were later dropped when a grand jury declined to indict him. What, he threatened him? Tyler, who, damn, you 51 years old still doing this foolishness, now faces up to 20 years in prison. If he had been convicted of the original first-degree rape charge, he could have faced a life sentence. Mystical rose to fame in the mid-90s as part of Masterpiece No Limit Records. He found mainstream success with songs like Danger and Shake Your Ass, Show Me What You're Working With, featuring Pharrell Williams, and earned multiple Grammy nominations in the 2000s. So his sentencing is scheduled for June. So got the tea on that. So now you know. They will be trafficking people down. Dang, okay, I gotta keep Mystical. I gotta keep Mystical in prison. And I had to go through that whole thing. PP Diddy and R. Smelly need to share a cell together. Exactly. But isn't R. Kelly in Chicago? Or is he in New York? I don't even know anymore. Hollywood Reporter, all the trades are saying to the studios, we need a break from Timothée Chalamet, the Taylor Swift of movie industry, overexposed but hated by his own peers. Well, look, he's the one that I do agree with that. He needs to take a damn break. I'm tired of hearing. He said he's tired of hearing about little Timmy. Well, look, his rap name is Timmy Tim. I told you that video is floating around on social media. All right, now since we was talking about music and things, now we got to get into this messy story. Let's talk about Swizz Beatz. So apparently one of his baby mothers who lives in the UK is speaking out and saying that the 17-year-old child that she had with Swizzy back in the day has, whenever she goes over to his house that he lives with Alicia Keys and them, that the daughter has been disrespectful. She said that her and the daughter got into, wait, what is going on? She said that her and the daughter got into a fight. Why is my pictures not coming? Did I hit the wrong thing? Okay, there it is. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the thing. I'm probably hitting the wrong damn button. But anyway, so yeah, so she said that every time when she sends the daughter over to her father and all that other stuff, there seems to be some situations. The daughter's been vaping. Apparently, Alicia also vapes. There was a recent clip. I was trying to play it for the show, but no audio was coming out. But it was on the Neighborhood Talk. Alicia Keys was up there in the old sneakers and her big old ass playing Girl on Fire. And I did not realize how many people hate that song. I'm like, damn, y'all hate that song like that? I thought everybody liked Girl on Fire. But look, the one thing I've been saying about Alicia, Miss Ma'am, you always try to sing your songs in a key that your voice ain't been able to do in the past 20 years. And I think that's due to the fact that you couldn't close your legs to a damn married man. Justice for Mashonda. So now we got this situation where this baby mother out here is being messy. So if y'all not familiar with the situation, let's get into it. So The carefully curated image of Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys' blended family is facing its most serious public challenge yet. Jonna Sebastian, the mother of Swizz Beatz' 17-year-old daughter, Nicole Dean, has taken to her social media with explosive allegations against the music power couple. Now, in a series of emotional posts surfacing around March 13th to 15th of this month, Sebastian accused Swizzy, born Kasim Dean, and his wife Alicia of contributing to their daughter's alleged substance abuse and parental alienation. Sebastian, a London-based singer who shares Nicole with Swizz Beatz, claimed that her daughter became addicted to drugs and vapes while in her father and stepmother's care during visits to the U.S. In a since deleted and widely screenshotted Instagram post, Sebastian wrote the following. She said, "Do you guys think it's okay to hit your mother in the name of money, fame, and drugs? She said she hates me, my mom, my friends. Nicole got addicted to drugs and vapes in the U.S. while in their care. This is why she is acting like this. It's not normal teenage stuff." She specifically named Alicia Keys in her allegations, suggesting that the Grammy-winning singer personally uses substances and that her brothers allegedly introduced Nicole to vapes. Why there is no blend? Because they do everything the opposite way. I say no vapes, weed, and edibles. They make them available. Alicia uses them herself. Her brothers got her hooked on vapes. And I say detox from social media, detox from the phone. They give her a fourth secret phone. I say study. They take her to parties and yachts, and she doesn't study. Now, Sebastian and Swizz Beatz dated briefly in the early 2000s after meeting in London. Nicole was born in May 2008 and currently splits her time between her mother in the UK and her father in the US. Swizz Beatz married Alicia Keys in 2010. Together, they have built what they have often described as a harmonious blended family, raising 5 children total. Swizz 3 from previous relationships, Prince Nasir Dean, who's 25, Kasim Dean Jr., who's 19, and Nicole, who's 17, plus their 2 sons together with, well, with Alicia, Egypt Daoud Dean, who's 15, and Genesis Ali Dean, who is 11. Now, according to Sebastian, the situation escalated to a physical confrontation where Nicole already allegedly hit her, which she described as crossing the biggest line. Sebastian shared what she claimed was video evidence of her daughter pulling out a pre-rolled joint and vape pen, alleging the items belonging to Keys. And another emotional post she wrote, "I'm trying to save her from further destruction. I've spoken to her dad so many times about it. They ignore everything. They speak to Nicole and make me look like a villain to her." She continued, making a reference to another celebrity tragedy. She says, "If you have to go public to save your child from drugs, you should, instead of your child spiraling out of control and publicly dying from an OD in a bathtub like Whitney Houston's daughter." Well, Whitney also died in a tub. They also said something that he also threatened his baby mama with a pow pow, because I got that IG post here. Hold on, let me pull that up for y'all to see. I tell you, this is an evidence heavy show today. Um, So yeah, this is on her page. So she put, this is from 2019. "He has been threatening, harassing me for many years. He hasn't taken any part in raising Nicole, never did any caregiving. They do it for power and control. He lies in my face when we have conversations, then does the opposite. I have to make it public for protection. This is why it is impossible to deal with these people. How about paying attention to violence against women? This is an example of Hollywood patriarchy that you are worshiping in America. Check yourself and stop attacking the woman, the mother, on behalf of these people, pumping their egos." He was drink driving with Nicole in the car that same year. These people are reckless. And look, somebody jumped in the comments saying he was married when you got pregnant. Leave us alone with your pity party nonsense. So the people still throwing shade at her. But I'm like, um, I guess they feel the same way about you that they feel about Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys has still not been able to recover from the fact that she was messing with Swizzy while he was with Mashonda. And so people still dogging her. And that career ain't been the same since she did that. She's still out here, you know, floundering on the hits, looking back on those and throwing those new songs up in there that nobody care about. But, everybody up there, Falling and all the other songs that she got, A Woman's Worth, which clearly you don't have that. But she wrote a song about it. Aren't those the biggest hypocrites? The people that always try to come at you with them preachy anthems and don't be practicing what they preach. And funny enough, when that video that I was telling you about, where she was singing "Girl on Fire," which, like I said, her voice had been able to hit the notes in years. One person said, "Oh, I know a smoker's voice when I hear one." So clearly, there is some. I believe the girl. I believe that Alicia do smoke. I believe that she's probably vaping or smoking weed or whatever the case is. But my thing is this, because I know I don't know what she should do. I feel like, yeah, make it public, but could she also go before a judge and get them involved? But then again, how would she be able to fight them? Because that's like David and Goliath going at it. Because a lot of times when you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, tries to go up against somebody who has a lot of money, apparently money, power, influence corrupts. Power corrupts. What is it? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So a lot of times when you go in there, you're trying to get a fair trial. What if Mr. Dean and Mrs. Keys go up in there and throw their coins together and tries to buy the judge? Crazier things have happened. So, and where things go in their favor, and now the mother's screwed. I'll say this, I guess at this point, I know you don't want to have to wash your hands of this situation with your kid, but she's almost 18 years old. If the father feel like he could do a better job, and as much as I love my child, you go in and let have. Do what you need to do. Because it's like, I'm not going to sit here and do all the work to raise this child, and then I want her to have time with her father, and then you go over there and you undo all the hard work that I've done because you want to be her friend and not her damn father. And you get me treating your kids like they're your friends. It's like you raise your crazy ass kids in an unorthodox way. This is not how I'm raising my child, especially when I'm a single mother. You and Alicia raise your kids the way you want to raise them. Do you let little Egypt and the rest of them run around smoking blunts and doing edibles and shit at their age at 11 and what's the other one age? 15? So you let them run around doing whatever the hell they want with no consequence? Now, speaking of the public reaction, some users expressed sympathy and called for a court intervention. One commenter on Lipstick Alley noted, yes, she should take it to court, but also Swizz and Alicia are both richer and more powerful than her. However, others question the wisdom of airing such sensitive family matters publicly. One user commented, trying this in the court of social media will only further alienate her from her daughter. Some skeptics pointed out that marijuana and vaping are legal in some U.S. jurisdictions, but that's great and all, and I did see people saying that in the comments. However, she's not of age. And I don't want my underage child, she's 17 years old, vaping and smoking weed. So I don't give a good goddamn if it's legal. You're not doing that shit in my house. And because this is my house. However you raise your kids, you do it in your house. But when you in my shit, you abide by my rules. And if you don't want to listen, hope you got a good job and you able to afford your own apartment, because you're not going to be doing that shit up in here. And that's the way I see it. So I don't know what she's doing at this point. It's like, yeah, I do feel a way about the whole court of public opinion thing, like putting on social media and trying to get people to jump into your little situation, like inviting all of us in the group chat. I don't know if that's a good idea, but what else can you do? So I said take it to court, but if she ain't got the coins, then I guess this is it. And I don't know what the girl looked like. Maybe that's a good thing because she's a minor. But anyway, so yeah, that's the team on that. Look, she said that she's had issues with Swizzy over the years, and she's tried to tell him, but he don't want to listen. So I don't know what she should do at this point. I hope she's able to work it out in some sort of way. Get the courts involved. That's all I got to say on that. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Do you think that this is something she should have done, put it out there in the public, or do you feel like this is a mother at her last wit's end? She's at the end of her rope. What else can she do? I've tried everything, and I've tried to go before him, have conversations, do a face-to-face, a FaceTime. We've gone on hikes. We've gone for 40-minute walks, and it seems like nothing's penetrating. So what could I do? There's only been so much I could do before I have to take it to the people, the people's court, and the people's court being, the internet. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. He's like, I'm going too far. He was found guilty of extortion and other stuff and had to do a plea to avoid life in prison. Research his 2004 case. Oh, another thing too. Shout out to Marilyn Monroe. She turned 100 years old. She got the Leanne Rhymes treatment. I guess it is mixed people problems. And you said because we all know Leanne and Eddie career never fully recovered after the cheating scandal. Okay, and then you got Brandy Glanville out here looking a mess. And you said they dragged the shit out of Leanne Rhymes, even calling her a baboon when she's that's shady. Alicia got it easy compared to her. Did she though? Because I could have sworn Alicia got it bad, but I do feel like she probably did get it worse. And hating her mama, the only way she hates her mom is being trained to. Could be. What comment did I miss? If you talking about the Marilyn Monroe one, I did read that one. Okay, y'all. So now let's see where we going. Okay, so you said she better act now because once she turned 18, it's too late as far as the court's concerned. Like, when did she turn 17? Is it like recently or taking time? And I want to know, how long has she been vaping? How long has she been vaping? Like, how long have you been out here smoking? How long have you been doing the edibles? And when did they introduce you to all of that? Well, you was talking about the whole Timothée Chalamet thing? I mean, I read that also. The last story I read before I went to the next topic was this one. Yeah, so they got to figure that out. She probably still do. That's what I look back in the day. Me and my friends, when I first started doing the whole podcasting thing back in the day, when I was dabbling in it, not really taking it seriously, I used to refer to her as Mr. Keys. So, which I should have did in that segment, but she definitely gets bull dagger from East Harlem. Anyway, so we're down to our final four topics. So before we get to our final four, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. That's if you haven't done all that already. And we also have memberships. You can also, hype up the channel. You can do all that good stuff to help show your support for this messy show. He said, I can't and won't, Lord. Me and my friend used to call her Mr. Keys. Shout out to my friend Jennifer because she was the one that started that. So I took it from her. But anyway, so without further ado, let's get into some reality TV news. So it looks like Kenya Moore, Tamar, Braxton, and Kim Zolciak might be having a new gig. That's if you believe these stories are floating around from the likes of That Grape Juice, the Jasmine brand, and I think even Reality Tea reported on it. So from multiple blogs. But until we actually hear that it's factual, let's take it with a grain of salt. But I do think like this might be an interesting idea to want to take on. So apparently, word on the street is these girls got a new show, and I think it's going to Prime Video. So look like some of your favorite reality stars are allegedly teaming up for a brand new series. They said in February it was announced that the original cast members of The Real Housewives of New York City would reunite for a new docuseries titled The Golden Life. That's going to be on E! Now, instead of sharing their lives in the Big Apple, the original cast, including Luann de Lesseps, Sonia Morgan, Ramona Singer, and Dorinda, and more, will come together in Palm Beach, Florida. The series would also air on E! Rather than Bravo. Now, it appears that Amazon Prime may also be developing a new series featuring familiar faces from the Real Housewives franchise. However, unlike The Golden Life, it will also feature real life personalities from other hit shows such as The Bachelor and Vanderpump Rules. Fans expecting a new reality competition series? Here's everything that we know so far. So now, according to a recent Reddit thread dedicated to the Real Housewives, a new reality TV show is reportedly in development at Amazon Prime Video. It will feature several reality personalities, including 3 stars from the Housewives universe. Those housewives rumored to be involved include Margaret Josephs from the Real Housewives of New Jersey, along with former Real Housewives of Atlanta stars Kenya Moore and Kim Zolciak, which would be interesting because remember when we watched The Housewives, Kim and Kenya did not necessarily get along. So it'll be interesting to see how these 2 ladies interact on this show. I honestly think they need to bring Kim, and I know this is not a popular opinion because Onyx don't particularly care for her friend to the show, but Kenya I think needs to come back to the Housewives of Atlanta. And I'm saying that because with Britt Edie showing her entire ass and everything that's going on now with Bravo, to spite her, I'd bring Kenya back. I think y'all thought a little too prematurely about firing her, but that's just me. So they said those housewives, as I said, Margaret Josephs, Kenya, and Kim. Not much information has been revealed about what fans can expect, besides the thread sharing that the show is reportedly being filmed in the Dominican Republic. However, the thread suggests it could potentially be a competition style reality show, which would make sense given the cast includes personalities from several different hit TV franchises and women of all ages. If that's the case, it could draw comparisons to House of Villains or even The Traitors, both shows that bring together reality stars from various shows to live under one roof and compete for a cash prize. So, some of the people that they have up in here is Tamar, Kim, Kenya, Margaret, Christine from Selling Sunset, Brittany from Vanderpump Rules, Caitlin from Bachelor Nation. Never watched that show. Some of these I'm trying to read, but I can't. Okay, I had to make it bigger. Jen from Bachelor Nation. Not Hilaria Baldwin. Ew. Not Alec Baldwin's wife. Don't we not? I thought we didn't. We weren't really featuring the Baldwins. Especially since he accidentally killed somebody on a movie set. So we got Hilaria Baldwin, allegedly, and then we got 2 of the Chrisleys, Julie Chrisley and Savannah. I ain't watching this shit. No shade, but I'm not watching this shit. I don't care about the Chrisleys. I never particularly care for him. For them, Savannah's an idiot. We already saw how dumb. I don't know who's dumber, her, Elizabeth Hassel Snatch. Them 2 morons over there on The View when Alyssa was on maternity leave. I don't particularly care, so I don't know if I'll be watching. The only reasons why I would watch is because of I do like Christine Quinn from Selling Sunset. Tamar is an acquired taste. She gets on my root canal nerve, but for TV, I would actually watch her because he's entertaining. Kim Zolciak, just to see what she's been up to. I mean, we know what she's been up to, but to see how she plays in this space because we know she needs the money. Kenya definitely needs a little resurgence in her career, and Margaret's always good TV. So, um, what the article says, the rumor cast of some new Amazon Prime show filming in DR. They said not sure if it's a competition show or not, so I'm not making a full post on it yet. But articles describe it as a take on Ultimate Girls Trip. I don't know much else about it. First of all, I don't understand how y'all out here ripping off something that Andy Cohen has going on with his own thing. It's like I understand, like a lot of y'all wanted your own versions of the Housewives and stuff, but be a little more original with y'all situation. Speaking of physical challenges, I've heard people over the years say, it'd be a great idea if they actually did that with Drag Race. Like you have a bunch of Drag Race girls. It's like a cross. They try to say Bad Girls Club. I'm like, no, we don't want nothing that damn ratchet. But they said a cross between the Big Brother and the Challenge. If they kind of merged that up in there and did it with drag queens, oh bitch, I would definitely be up there watching that. In fact, I would like to host a show like that. So, look at me, always trying to put myself in a hosting gig. If ain't nobody gonna hire me, then well, look, if I don't shoot my shot and put it out there, then how else will things get done? Closed mouths don't get fed. So yeah, so that's the latest on this so far. It sounds interesting, but because y'all got the Chrisleys and stuff on there, like hopefully y'all go home first. So kind of like with Plain Jane went home early on the recent season of House of Villains. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? If this show turns out to be true, would this be a show that you would actually would like to check out? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Oh, she definitely throws on the strap. Or as 50 Cent would say, she gets the strap. Kenya Moore could pay all those. Oh yeah, because you're talking about the whole the salon situation. For coming back to Atlanta, the whole cast is a bunch of chops. Yeah, they're all like bottom of the barrel. I was introduced to vaping cartridges through friends in middle school, and then it spiked when when I was flinging around with that one guy who got it in a car wreck. Well, I'm glad you are. You saw the light. But no, but yeah, that's another thing too, because I do agree with that. That a lot of it is kids are getting introduced to the vaping and stuff. I don't know how they're getting their hands on it, but the kids are the ones that's doing the vaping, get introduced in the vaping. Because here's the thing, um, my sister works in a high school, and she was telling me that yeah, the kids be vaping in the schools, and then they take the cartridges, and instead of throwing them in the garbage, they dumbasses flush them. I'm like, why are y'all flushing stuff like that down the damn toilet? That causes the toilets to clog up. You're fucking up the pipes. But they don't care because it's not they damn toilet. And my thing would have been this: if you in my house doing that, you flush the cartridge down the damn toilet, and you fuck up my pipes, I'm fucking you up. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. William Orbit admitted he and Madonna ain't close. Thing in your inbox. He admits the criticism he did during the MDNA era pissed her off, but he said, I didn't lie. She didn't need to do the line with Lourdes and direct a movie. Well, haven't we always said that the problem with Madonna is that she wants people around her to kiss her ass? I don't want that. Like, truly, my thing is, I always want people that's going to tell me the truth. Like one of my closest friends, we've always butted heads to a point we wasn't talking for years. But then we came back into each other's lives, and one of my industry friends. And one of the things I've always admired about our friendship is that he doesn't mince words when he has to tell me the truth about stuff, especially when it comes to ideas of things going on in my career and stuff. So he'll give me some real staunch advice. And those are the type of people like I take it, I drink it in a little bit. It stings in the beginning. I'll be ready to fight. But then I got to remind myself, you know what? Maybe he's got a point. Let me look at your point of view because of maturity. So I look at that and like, you know what? You was actually right about that. And that makes, there's an understanding there. So I don't want people around me that's a yes person. And then you end up with, mediocre ass music. But he's right. The music definitely needed her during the MDNA era. I definitely saw about that's the album when she started following the trends instead of setting them. But he said, even if she hates him for telling her no, I'll forever love her because I work on Ray of Light changed my life forever. And it changed hers because that was the most that record, like when people talk about Madonna and that the way they finally give her the respect as an artist, it's always Ray of Light. I mean, yes, she has her other records that y'all listen to, whatever, but Ray of Light is like that peak record where people literally give her the respect. And that's where she got the respect from the Grammy people as well. That sort of thing. With her winning all those Grammy awards and when she was getting up there, people were really giving her props. So I do agree with that. They said, reminds me of when Apex Twin was approached about working with Danta, and he declined and started reading her along the line of her entire career is working with people who make her look. That would have been cute though to have her working with Apex Twin. I like Apex Twin. Apex Twin. I keep saying Apex. Apex Predator. Apex Twin. He said maybe first of all, I've liked their music videos. I mean, their music is crazy. It's like you gotta really be in the mood to listen to Apex Twin. But because a lot of weird ambient sounds and all that stuff, but the visuals I always thought sold their music more. So I always like when they collaborated and did these crazy videos. Particularly like I love the visuals with Chris Cunningham. Come to Daddy, oh my god, that video is iconic. He said Ray of Light is her magnum opus. It always disappoints me that she never really made another album like it besides music. which was an album Aphex Twin was asked to be a producer on. That'd have been interesting to hear, like, what that would have sounded like with his production on it. All right, now. Let me close that window. Let's get into another. Okay, let's get back into the show, y'all. And let's talk about Mr. I'll Tumble For You himself, Boy George, who is basically, I think, was coming to Chappell Rowana's defense in regarding this recent situation where she was running around with a whole attitude because people was taking her picture when she got out of the car. I asked these people, leave me alone. They won't leave me alone. Girl, you're out in public. They're gonna get your photos. Stop always walking around like you hate your career. Because trust and believe, once they stop taking them goddamn photos, I mean, it wasn't if they was being disrespectful, they was smacking in your ass and say, "Come here, stop, bitch. Let me take your picture." If they was doing shit like that, I can understand your frustration. But you with this boundary shit, y'all get on my fucking. You new generation people get on my goddamn nerves with this mess. And I don't care if y'all get mad, but it's like, grow up. You need to realize this is part of the territory. Let them take their pictures of you. Act like you want to be where you at, and then go about your day. Now the fact that they know you don't like the photos, they're gonna keep going after you. When they find out your Achilles heel, they like to keep poking the shit, and you give into it because I guess your bipolar be bipolar. Didn't she say she got bipolar disorder? So whether she wants to hear it or not, Boy George has some advice for his fellow pop star Chappell Roan. The Good Luck Babe singer recently went viral for confronting paparazzi and autograph seekers who followed her to a Paris restaurant on Sunday, asking them kindly to please leave me alone and stop following me and harassing me before turning on her own camera on them to show them what it's like. You can show them what it's like all you want. They don't care. It's not like you're gonna post it. Well, it did go online, but they don't care. While surmising that his words were probably not helpful, George nevertheless addressed the incident on social media on Tuesday, saying the following. He says, "It's probably not helpful, but I have been doing this fame thing for a while, and you learn slowly and painfully that you don't get a free pass once you turn yourself into a bird of paradise. I watched Chappell Roan filming the Paps in Paris, and I laugh because I've kicked off at them many times. The trick is to own your fame. Yes, it's annoying at times, but so is being ignored and told you're a has-been. Life is always now, and I think Chappell looks great, but cheer up, girl. The world is at your feet. Stop kicking it. It takes so much more time to say no to a picture or a signature. Boundaries are boring. Break them with the magic of kindness." He's absolutely right with that. And that's all the things I've been saying. However, I'm about to dig in Boy George ass because you should be the last one to be spewing this shit because word on the street is I have 2 friends that have worked with you and say you're an asshole. One, my friend Daniel Dardicio said he hired him to do an event in Poland. Boy George was a nightmare. Another person that I met, I know, Alfonso King, who was also DJ known as DJ Relentless back in the days of Esquilita. I told you, bitch, I know people. He used to DJ a lot of Escos. He now lives in Toronto, I believe. So yeah, with his husband, he still does activism. He DJs all that stuff. So and also does drag as Jade Electra. So he's a legend within the nightlife scene. So he told me a story too. The fact that I think there was one time he said that Boy George was cordial with him, and then there was another incident where they did some type of event, or he hired him for an event, and Boy George was a hot mess, nasty, disrespectful, all the other stuff. So yeah, you trying to tell her to get her shit together, and while yes, the advice is prominent, I do agree with a lot of what you said. But if you're not out here practicing what you're preaching, this shit ain't worth the paper it's been written on. So great advice, and I do agree with it because it's like, yes, I know you hate signing autographs. Recently, there's a lot of celebrities out here who hate getting their picture taken, who hate stopping for paparazzi, who hate signing autographs, who don't acknowledge or even give a fuck about their fans. All they want is the fame and the money and the glamour and all that other stuff. They want all the frivolous things. But it's like, bitch, if you out here, and I don't mean bitch in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, how we homosexuals talk. But if you're going to be out here and you're going to be trying to gain all this notoriety and stuff, The day that they decide to stop taking your pictures, you're going to wish like hell you wasn't acting the way you was acting towards that paparazzi, because every dog has its day. And there have been many people that have been in your situation that are nasty to the paparazzi, and the day that you show up on the red carpet, they all put their cameras down, and now you mad. But that's what you wanted, sis. That's what you asked us to give you. Now we finally giving you what you asked for, and now you got an attitude. Bitch, I got an attitude. You know I got an attitude. That's on the top of my head. Shout out to LaKaylee 47. So I'm like, is there anything else I need to add to this whole situation? So they said that Roan has recently emerged as one of the most critical voices in the claustrophobic and sometimes exploitative conditions of life in the public eye. She rose to the top of the pop charts with songs like Good Luck Babe and Hot to Go and Pink Pony Club. Roan has made waves for advocating on behalf of her fellow artists for a livable wage, clapping back at aggressive red carpet photographers and calling out creepy fans who get too close. As he pointed out, George is no stranger to fame, having released 19 studio albums as part of the band Culture Club and solo since 1987. He also launched a parallel career in reality TV in the mid-2010s, appearing as a judge, contestant, and guest star on series like Project Runway, All Stars, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and The New Celebrity Apprentice. His recent words of advice for Roan were not his first public comment on her approach to fame. Last year, George remarked that he was watching this thing the other day with Roan saying she won't have photos with fans. I went through periods like that, but now I never ever say no to a photograph unless I'm on the toilet. He said, what is the point of doing this unless you absolutely love it? And that's why I said, like, girl, if you hate fame so much, quit. Because you seem like you don't like it. There are so many people that would kill to be in your position right now in regards of having a successful singing career, having adoring fans, literally eating out of the palm of your hand. Taylor Swift would never. So whether or not she genuinely loves her fans, I don't know. I'm not inside her brain, but at least she fakes it. If it's true or not, she's out there showing that she loves her fans, and she goes above and beyond for her fans, baking them cookies and all kinds of other stuff. You out here just all you giving your fans is shade. I'm so glad I'm not a fan. I mean, I like some of her songs, but I'm not a fan of her, especially with, I can't stand a bitch with an attitude. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding what Boy George had to say? I pretty much said what I said in regards to the tea that I had on Boy George. Great advice. I don't know if I should be hearing it from you, though, knowing some of the things I've known about you behind the scenes, working with certain celebrities and being in certain celebrity circles. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I'm siding with Chappell. What would that Thai queen in makeup know about being? Let's not do that. That Thai queen in makeup was famous around the time before social media was what it was. In fact, I think the paparazzi, that whole fame thing was way worse in the 80s and 90s and even in the 2000s before now. Now it's kind of, I mean, yeah, you still got annoying ass paparazzi, but it was crazier back then because there was no streaming, there was no internet. You had to sell records the old fashioned way. People was all up in his business, wondering if he was a homosexual or not. Like there was a whole bunch that was going on at that time. So I understand and yeah, he's had his own shares with the law as well, but um it's part of the job. Like you going out and anytime you go out in public, people are gonna want to get your picture. Even Beyonce, who was immensely private, she's like, I'm gonna just get in, take y'all little photos, whatever. I'm still gonna live my life and do what I need to do. I'm not gonna throw a temper tantrum because the minute you start doing that, that's when you start turning people off. Chappell isn't established. The Paps could make you lose everything. You don't have a stan army. Yeah, she got a couple of fans, but they're not gonna be out here windmilling for her like the Barbs or the Rihanna Navy or the Beehive. You don't have fans like that. It's important to note that Chappell says it's harassment from the paparazzi. Yes, she is at an event where celebs get photographed, but not on the side of the street where she's exiting the vehicle. They get you there too. Her and Doja. Oh, don't even get me started on Doja though. And this whole thing where she tried to jump on the Timothée Chalamet bandwagon and was just talking about, oh, I just jumped on it because I knew if I talked about Timothée Chalamet and I said what I said, that it was going to bring me attention. I do believe she got multiple personality. Oh, what did she say? She got what type of disorder? She said she got multiple. Well, she do. It looked like she got multiple personality. I mean, look, if you're gonna be in this industry doing music or whatever, you have to have multiple personalities. I think a lot of us in entertainment are just crazy. You got to be a special kind of crazy to be able to come up with the shit we come up with. And you say they don't care. That Chappell has to understand they don't care about boundaries. It's their job. Absolutely, they don't care. This is why it's like you got to have security. You know, like disperse. You're going. This industry it's unfortunately chaotic, and it's things that happen that are just beyond your control. But I do agree that she should go in like how Tiana Taylor did. If you pushing up on me and you being disrespectful, call it out. They just asking for a photo, and you're just being annoyed by the photo. Yeah, I do. And funny enough, when you said this, I was actually thinking about this whole time with the whole paparazzi and everything. Britney was like in my head a lot when I was thinking about it. Doja Cat is one album away from being a. Yeah, because I've been going through this debate with a friend of mine with the Doja stuff. And I think we were trying to figure out like what is it about Doja that's just not resonating with people. I mean, I think y'all would go see her in an arena tour, right? Like y'all go see her tours or whatever, but I don't know if y'all will support her music. But there's just something about I don't know. I think maybe because of the way she comes at her fans sometimes, the way she treats her fans sometimes, it's pretty much rubbed a lot of y'all the wrong way. So people are turned off by it. But yeah, y'all paid this new album dust. Y'all did not care. We said Doja and said she got borderline. Oh, thank you. I knew it was something. Borderline personality disorder. That explains her constant outbursts of anger and lashing out on her fans. And they got medication for that. But you know, some people feel like, oh, if I take medication, it'll stifle my creativity. Not you saying clock it. What about Tobey Maguire and the paparazzi? Princess Diana, you will never see. Well, no, look, now that's why I said that when you take it too far, where somebody is driving and you literally run them off the road, I feel like that is insane. When they were doing a lot of that stuff back in the day, that's crazy. If I'm coming out and I'm going into a restaurant, you want to take my picture, whatever. But if you're doing something and you're putting my life in danger, it's going to be a problem. So there's levels to it. I'm not saying that we should just accept all of what paparazzi does to celebrities, that we should just take it. It's the same thing like with signing autographs. I feel I feel like there's a lot of people when they ask for your autograph, they're not really fans. They're trying to sell your signature online so they can make money off eBay. Tobey Maguire, he's problematic as fuck. I like Tobey Maguire, but yeah, he can be a dick. Look, he was friends with Leonardo DiCaprio. What do you expect? He said, but did he deserve to be treated that way before he became problematic? Okay, well, look, y'all arguing amongst yourselves. I gotta get back into the show. Let's get into some homosexual news. And let's talk about this show, I Kissed the Girl. And they liked it, but apparently the networks didn't like it because they canceled the show after 2 damn seasons. Now, I will admit, I did not ever get a chance to watch I Kissed the Girl or I Kissed the Boy. I think it's a UK show, but it was, if I'm not mistaken, imported to Hulu. So since the show has been chopped, now they're signing petitions. Fans are thousands of people, I should say, have signed a petition demanding the BBC continue to produce I Kissed the Boy and I Kissed the Girl after it was announced the queer franchise had been axed. I Kissed the Boy, the first series of the franchise, aired in 2023 and broke ground as the first dating show on British TV to solely feature levitical men. In 2024, I Kissed a Girl, an all-woman version, was launched and followed the same format as its sibling show. The premise of both programs sees 10 singles enter a gorgeous Italian masseria. Each contestant is instantly matched up with a potential partner, and before even learning each other's names, they share a kiss to see if sparks fly. Oh, y'all checking for the hurt. He said, now during the course of the series, the singletons mingle with each other and build new friendships and romantic connections. What's the name of that show that used to come on MTV? Then they did that, and then they did a queer version. I like that show when it was on. It kind of reminds me that this premise sounds a lot like that. Now, during the course of the series, the singletons mingle with each other and build new friendships and romantic connections, while new bachelors and bachelorettes enter at various points to heat up in the mix. You want to know what this also reminds me of? For the Love of Dilfs. This reminds me of that too, because there was a show on Out TV. I don't know if it's coming back. That Trump's favorite girl, Stormy Daniels, was a host of. And they had and basically they were on there, like they would match them up with each other, a DILF with I forget what they call like the younger version, like a twink or whatever, like the younger guys or the himbos. That's what it goes. So it was the twink, I mean, so it was the himbos and it was the DILFs, and they kind of put them together to see if they had chemistry. And then to kind of shake things up, they would bring other people in the house, and then they can basically go after whoever that person was dating and be like, oh, this person that's linked up and connected with this person, they can come and be like, oh, I want to go on a date with you, and cause some drama within the house. I actually like that show, but I don't know if it's coming back though. It was on Out TV. Now, they said at the kiss off, each pair decides whether they want to stay together by sealing the deal with a kiss. Those who remain unkissed have to leave the show single. Damn. Now, last week, the BBC said there were no current plans for either show to return after season 2 of I Kissed a Girl airs later this year, with the broadcaster blaming funding challenges on the decision. Saying, we are exceptionally proud of I Kissed a Boy / Girl, the UK's first dating show for the Libidical Plus community. We would like to thank our fabulous Cupid, Danny Minogue, and the entire team at 2-4 for bringing the series to screen. Unfortunately, we have to make a difficult choice in light of our funding challenges, and there are no current plans for the show to return. Now, fans of the Libidical Plus dating show were unsurprisingly, absolutely devastated and called on other broadcasters to pick up the franchise and save it. Now, pop star, homosexual icon, and host Danny Minogue lamented the show's loss and saying being involved in it was the most special experience, while ICAG contestant Amy Spaulding said she was devastated but unsurprised. Who's surprised? Queer storylines and queer stories are being sidelined again while straight storylines blossom in their thousands, Spaulding said. Now, since the news broke, a petition, which is nearly 9,000 signatures, has been launched aimed at convincing TV bosses both shows are worth saving given the importance they hold for the Libidical Plus community. Well, they said they have nearly 9,000 signatures. I'm going to actually go, okay, because now the signatures, they got 9,350, because I had to go over to the change.org website and see how many they got so far. So, for decades, LGBTQ plus audiences have fought for a seat at the table in mainstream media. When the BBC launched I Kissed a Girl and its follow-up, I Kissed a Boy, I Kissed a Boy and its follow-up, I Kissed a Girl, it felt like a breakthrough. For the first time, queer joy, dating, and community were given the high production, primetime treatment usually reserved for heteronormative reality TV. Because I'm saying y'all definitely need to give a lot of these queer shows the Love Island budget and pretty much put that out there, because I think it's relatively important that we see young queer people in their 20s, maybe their 30s, trying to find love and seeing how that works out. Because look, if the straights can have their fun with their bachelors and their bachelorettes and the Golden Bachelor and all these other shows, why the homosexuals can't get in on the fun? We don't need to be out here doing Zeus Network type shit that the only way the gays get to have some kind of representation, they got to be out here windmilling and not connecting with the fist during the windmilling, or they got to be stupid shit like pop the balloon. This is at least something that is showcasing love and romance and wanting to find love and, of course, drama ensuing. So now, they said recent reports and budget shifts show that the future of these groundbreaking series and others like them are in jeopardy. By failing to ring-fence funding for queer-led programming, the BBC is effectively telling the Biblical Plus community that our stories are disposable luxuries rather than essential public service broadcasting. Saying the BBC is funded by the taxpayer, which includes millions of LGBTQ plus people, it continued. Under its royal charter, the BBC has a duty to reflect the diversity of the UK. Adding the show is a vital lifeline for queer people in isolated or rural areas, and representation shouldn't be the first thing on the chopping block when budgets get tight. Yeah, because my thing is just find a cheaper location. I mean, I thought it was always cheaper to produce reality shows. So I don't understand why y'all all of a sudden want to pinch pennies, but you'll put some of the shittiest programming on and throw all kinds of money behind that. Now, in response, signatories shared their own reasons for putting their names to the petition, including wanting to ensure authentic queer representation remains accessible on TV, saying we benefit so much from true representation in TV shows like this. How can you justify canceling this show when there are so many straight versions available with multiple seasons? One signatory named Katie wrote, "It's not right." Another fan named Aisha said, "This just shows that LGBTQ rights don't end at marriage equality. Rights including having representation and seeing yourself in mainstream media. And if we keep stripping away queer people's chance to see themselves in real people in shows like this, we're going backwards, not forward with our representation. That's why we need I Kissed a Girl / Boy and other shows like this. If there is a budget to fund season after season for straight dating shows like Love Island, why is there not a budget for queer dating shows too?" And then you got shows like RuPaul's Drag Race that has to, in order for us to even get those type of shows, they got to do a drag queen snatch game equivalent of Love Island. So we definitely need those. We definitely need the representation out there, even if we're not going to get it scripted. I feel like a lot of times, me growing up, I felt like even though there was like slim pickings when it came to seeing that type of queer representation, we got a lot of that representation by watching a lot of reality TV shows. So we definitely need that, especially in this current climate that we're in of fascism and bigotry and hatred from some of our leaders. I don't know how they're. I mean, if that may be the same case over in the UK, but I feel like a lot of our programming is in jeopardy over in the US as well. So people, you know, people just want to be seen at the end of the day. That's all they want. Is they want to be able, they want to be seen. They want to be able to see a show that we're comfortable watching and can see themselves represented in some sort of light. So we gotta stop trying to kowtow to these people and really fight to get these type of shows to continue on the air. So this is unfortunate that shows like this is getting canceled and we're not seeing enough representation from queer people. We just did a story the other day in regards of the amount of shows that are coming that show any kind of queer representation, whether in scripted or non-scripted, is starting to be diluted. So hopefully things get better down the line sooner rather than later. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding this show, I Kissed a Boy, I Kissed a Girl? Whether or not you watch or whatever, I always feel like, look, representation matters, and y'all should not be trying to cut budgets on shows that have cultural impacts, but yet you're continuing to put money behind BS. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Chuck, I'm having a whole conversation about Princess Diana up in here. Y'all lost me. No, not Shot of Love with Tila Tequila. I remember that show, Chair. Wait, hold on. I gotta look it up. Um, Are You the One? That's what it was. I don't know why I could not think of that damn name. Cause I was like, I had to put a dating show on MTV that was one season where they had a queer cast. I had to put all that in. So I think it was Are You the One, Come All. Can't believe it was that long ago. It was almost 10 years ago. It came out in 2019. There was one boy in that show that I had the biggest crush on. First of all, Remy does OnlyFans. I'm trying to see. Yeah, they was like, yeah, they did like a sexually fluid season. I do remember that. I was trying to remember all the names and stuff that they had on there. Oh, they had yeah, they don't have. I don't think they have all the names and stuff on there. But yeah, it was a sexually fluid season that they did of Are You the One? I think it was like how many? 16 contestants. One of the guys on the show, um, Remy, yeah, he does adult cinematography now on the OF because I remember seeing his content. I love this generational conversation we're having on the ethics of paparazzi. It's still F the paparazzi for me for what they did to Britney and what they. Yeah, look, I agree with you on that, but you said I guess I don't have sympathy because it's part of the culture. I'm like, if Chappell don't want to deal with Paps and TMZ, then go back to being a waitress. TMZ get on my damn nerves though. But unfortunately, yes. You get to enjoy the perks of being a celebrity, but it also has its dark side, and the dark side is the paparazzi. You just got to figure out how to navigate through all of that. But they know that it gets under your skin, so they're going to continue to come at you in that way. I always say, you put what you put out, you get back. So even if I can't stand these fucking paparazzi people, I'll just put my shades on, roll my eyes behind the lens, the dark lens that y'all can't see me rolling my eyes to the point they get stuck up at the top of my head and I can see my brain, and let them take their pictures and I go on. I'm like, okay, you got your pictures? Now leave me the fuck alone. I don't need you watching me while I'm eating. There's that. So, okay, y'all. So now let's get into our final topic. And unfortunately, we got some sad news. I mean, it's not like she passed, but we got to get in some tea about Miss PorkChop, the world's first ever eliminated drag race queen. So apparently she had gotten hospitalized after eating a burger, which I was like, when I read this, I'm like, wait, are they for real or is this something straight out the onion? So according to Entertainment Weekly, in a handwritten message shared earlier this week by drag race production company World of Wonder and addressed only to Theron, likely meaning longtime show producer Theron Smothers, who I remember hearing legendary stories about Theron from Willem. PorkChop's team reported that the performer has experienced a serious health setback and was hospitalized after eating a hamburger from a major grocery chain and is now facing a number of ongoing medical challenges. So does that mean that they had food poisoning? Because that's what this sounds like. The note explained that shortly after eating the hamburger, he started vomiting, had diarrhea, and was severely dehydrated. Well, yeah, that's because when you constantly releasing fluids from your body, you got to keep putting fluids in. And if they keep coming out, you're going to dehydrate the body because the body is mostly made up of water. So they said this lasted 72 hours. 911 was called and he was immediately transported to the hospital via ambulance. And so you got to hook him up to IV so that way you're getting the fluids in and all that stuff. Now, PorkChop was reportedly admitted to the hospital for 1 week after the incident, where he was pumped with antibiotics and given physical therapy while doctors ran multiple tests before he was diagnosed with 4 separate medical conditions: atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat, acute kidney injury, hyponatremia due to intestinal infection and hypertension. Jesus, what was in that burger? The note added that PorkChop is bedbound for the next 14 to 21 days with a visiting nurse and a physical therapist required for his care, and that he expected to make a full recovery after treatment. As he works towards recovery, his immediate needs that would be greatly improve his quality of life would be a motorized scooter to help him get around. Oh, I would love a motor scooter. And assistance with personal 24-hour security would be deeply appreciated. One note continued, also encouraging fans to support the OG drag race legend. Saying, quote, sometimes a small act of kindness can make a meaningful difference to someone who has spent so many years bringing joy to others. The note concluded, we hope the community will keep PorkChop in their thoughts and consider lending support in whatever way they may be alone. World of Wonders post then pointed fans to a GoFundMe page collecting donations for PorkChop, which as of Saturday afternoon had raised $4,200. Drag Race Queens listed in the donations section include season 6 winner Bianca Del Rio and season 18 queen Didi Fuego, while World of Wonder is listed as a $1,500 donor. Now, Entertainment Weekly has reached out to a rep for PorkChop for more information. Now, in addition to making Drag Race history as season 1's first eliminated queen in 2009, PorkChop has made subsequent appearances in the past. The performer's name also inspired the infamous PorkChop loading dock portion in season 13, in which the cast split into 2 different teams, the winners and losers of cast-wide lip-sync gauntlet before the main competition began. So, PorkChop, even though she was the first one going, she has been a prominent face within the franchise. Like, they bring her back every now and again. Now, PorkChop also starred in the 2021 television comedy The Bitch Who Stole Christmas, playing an elderly man married to fellow Drag Race alum James Mansfield's cutthroat housewife, with the couple attempting to maintain their ruthless reign over the Christmas pageant of the small fictional town of Tuckahoe. They didn't have to pitch it. As soon as they told me I wanted to do it, this is what PorkChop told EW in making the movie, which also stars RuPaul at the time. From the description of the character, I knew what I wanted to do with it. I immediately thought, yes, I don't have to get in drag, and I get to be comfortable. I was able to show off, and I was able, what I was able to do as a guy, not in drag. So, I was trying to say, because I don't have an actual link to the GoFundMe or whatever, but I did see that there were like the handwritten note or whatever. Now somebody's saying, baby, couldn't y'all just buy her a scooter? She practically helped launch the franchise. Another person said, how about your company donating instead of fans? Another person said, fulfill that GoFundMe. Wow, don't be oh, look, and the funny thing was I was thinking it. It's like, wait a minute. What the money? Y'all got so much goddamn money over there with all the stuff y'all producing. You could pretty much just give a damn motor scooter to her instead of asking us to dig in our wallets to help our PorkChop. But they said how much you guys donating. Then I said like 1,200. They said you should leave with that, seeing as how these queens are responsible for where you are. Well, we're the one of the production company been around for a long time, but yes, Drag Race is the face that launched 1,000 ships. So I definitely get what everybody is saying, but the people are eating them up in the comments. They said the multi-million-dollar company telling people to donate to a GoFundMe is crazy. Another person said, soaking clock, said this is actually insulting considering how much Rue has used Victor throughout the series as a staple character and running joke. In a sense, I've seen McDonald's employees pool their money together to get their coworker a car. Be so for real, DPMO. Child. They are going in. Another person said, respectfully, how about shut the hell up and spend some of your millions to give the guy a scooter? Literally $1 million company right here begging us, the poor and hungry, and in the middle of a war, our taxes are funding against our will, asking us to buy PorkChop a scooter. Are you, what scooter? I don't know. I had that Nene Leaks moment. They said, are we slow or are we stupid? This is like when celebrities make GoFundMes. Y'all cared enough to repost, so you care enough to buy it. We're the one that loves to make RIP posts, but when they actually are here, you don't seem to do a whole lot to support them and love them outside of using them to make your own shows money. So basically, y'all pretty much got the gist. Everybody's in the comments saying, why don't you ask RuPaul to send them a scooter? Why don't y'all put up the money? And look, I agree. I'm sitting there like, y'all got all this money. If you want to help donate and let people be like, okay, so y'all want to donate to the GoFundMe and help out or whatever, then I will put the GoFundMe out there for that. But as far as like a scooter and other type of needs, y'all could probably get one donated. With all the sponsors that y'all have over at Drag Race, y'all can get PorkChop a damn scooter. So I do agree with them on that. But unfortunately, You know what? Get well. Hopefully everything works out. But I do agree with a lot of people in the comments what they said because World of Wonder, y'all are diabolical with that ask. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding PorkChop being hospitalized over eating a burger? I just want to know what was in that damn burger that all of a sudden you wound up getting sick. Or was this some preconceived conditions that you wasn't aware of that finally just reared its ugly head after you bit into that sandwich? So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Where's a fish burger? Did I say fish burger? I didn't say fish burger. Let's go back up to the article because it said um, they experienced a serious health setback and was hospitalized after eating a hamburger from a major grocery chain and is now facing a number of ongoing medical challenges. They said that shortly after eating the hamburger, he started vomiting, had diarrhea, and was severely dehydrated, and it lasted 72 hours. So basically, Miss Thing was out here, ate something, and then ended up getting sick. I do medium well. I like a little pink in my burger, but not to the point where it's raw. Then all I hear is Gordon Ramsay, it's raw. Speaking of which, I need to watch that new food competition series with Padma Lakshmi that's on Paramount Plus and CBS. Haven't gotten around to watching that yet. Newsom dragged Trump and said, when I become of course. We said from the beginning Newsom wants to be president. I won't be voting for him. Commercials during sports is banned. Halftime is extended to a 2-hour NFL concert. Commercials banned during Housewives. And each episode, or now he just won't be annoying. 5 hours long. Ticketmaster is banned. Healthcare is free. Religion will be banned, and abortion is federal law. It's in your inbox. He's stealing every progressive talking point, and it might help him. Yeah, but the fact of the matter is he's been flip-flopping so much, I don't know. But a lot of centrist people, they probably haven't really been paying attention to him the way we have been. But Newsom been kind of going back and forth on his opinions on stuff, which is why a lot of us side-eye him. Basically, everything we want is free, no commercials, and the stuff we want banned, and abortion back in the federal level. Can you imagine $100 an hour minimum wage? Because now they're talking about there's they were talking about that in New York they're trying to raise the minimum wage to $30. And I was like, $30 actually that is affordable. To me, I feel like, well, first of all, high minimum wage, y'all gonna make more money than I make. I make more because I'm funny enough, a lot of people assume that I work at the garden, I make minimum wage. You tried it, number one. I haven't made minimum wage in a long time. I've always made over minimum wage with my jobs. I mean, when I was younger, of course, I did minimum wage jobs, but the garden, no, I do not get minimum wage. So I be having to calculate that. But $30 an hour, I'm not mad at that because $30 an hour and you work full time or whatever the case is, that's good money. The problem is that if we're making that money, that means that don't mean to raise the groceries. That don't mean raise the rent. That don't mean raise everything else. And now it's like, well, what's the point of me making the $30? Now I'm paying $5,000 a month for an apartment, and I can't stick no kind of food or anything up in my apartment. Like I can't afford to pay my groceries or for other amenities and things. So now I'm still back to living paycheck to paycheck. So what's the point? So I hope that if they talk about in New York by 2030 that it's going to go up to $30 an hour, that New York would at least be an affordable place to live because the rent is too damn high still. Wait, the fish burger was a joke? You said Newsom is not getting a vote for me. I don't care if it's him versus Vance. I wouldn't vote for either. And I hate when people say that, if you don't vote for people, it's a problem. No, I'm not voting for the establishment. So I will burn my vote before I vote for something I don't agree with. And so I hate when people say, oh, oh, it's y'all fault we got Trump because y'all didn't vote for Kamala. Kamala is a Zionist. Kamala is a centrist. She still agrees with a lot of those establishment situations that a lot of us don't agree with. So I'm not going to vote for that. And then y'all want to blame Jill Stein, or, oh, she's a thorn in the ass. No, that's a talking point. Where it's like, oh, if somebody comes in the middle on the other side, like what's the word? Like an independent or whatever. Oh, that's the only time the Democrats and Republicans get together, because they want to keep it a two-party establishment. They want to keep it the way it is. They want, because low key, we have Democrats that agree with everything Trump is doing. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer being two of the people that apparently like what Trump doing and keep funding whatever he asks for, but want to pretend like, well, you didn't sign the little paper that we put out there, and you didn't put the dot, you didn't dot that I, you didn't cross that T. It's showing like they fighting, but it's like, sir, we're not stupid. We see y'all ain't doing shit. So I wouldn't vote for either. I wouldn't vote for that fat mascara wearing closeted homosexual, and I damn sure won't vote for Moose Hair. He got a lot of it in that hair of his. Gavin Newsom looks presidential. He's not a president though. He gives me Fritzy Tease from Scandal. Anyway, I was not expecting to do a 4-hour show. I was like, with the amount of topics I had on here, I thought I was gonna fly by through this quick. But you already know I can make a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to it being a slow news day. But anyway, so with all that being said, it looks like we're at the end of our show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Adler Unfiltered. One more again, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also smash the notification bell, all that good stuff. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode. I got distracted because I was reading this. See you at your next show. I'm your biggest fan. I'll follow you to you. Okay, Gaga. No, she loves the paparazzi. She wrote a whole song about it and what it does. But anyway, because it was about the fame. Maybe Chappell needs to listen to that record and get a grip. But anyway, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of the show. Since I won't be going back to work until, I need a couple of days, because I was out of it today too. Like, I was exhausted. And I was like, I definitely needed to take some time or whatever the case is. But yeah. I was like, wait, why do I not see my banners? I thought I did something. But anyway, I will be here pressing buttons. See, I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode, all that good stuff. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support. And until next time, ciao, darlings.